Okay, where are we at here? Hello. Can you hear me? I have no idea what's going on. I'm trying to catch up though. Give me just a second. I'll catch up. Give me just a second. I'll catch up. Let's see if I caught up yet. It shows live. I see it live. There's 9 people in here. Huh, weird. Oh, okay, I see that. I'll change it. Okay, so the YouTube is fucking around and fucking around. So I gotta get my title right. Just a minute. Hold on. I'm just about ready. Almost ready. Gotta get my title right. Gotta get my date right. Give me a break here, just a sec. And I'll plug in the phone. Hold on. Okay. So, let's see if that saves itself. Save me, Obi-Wan! Save me! Are we there yet? I'm working on it. Hey, I'm working on it. Okay? It takes a minute to make this shit happen. Okay, so it says Tulsi Gabbard adds universal basic income to her presidential platform. I guess now that Andrew Yang is out of the way, she can add that because that's part of the discussion that needs to continue to be had. Of course, right? Tulsi Gabbard, she has this important, foreign policy platform, which is why I support her so much, is because of her foreign policy platform, which is to bring the troops home. I've talked about this again and again, just imagine what we could do, if we weren't wasting all of our treasure and blood on, making disgusting rich people who think it's okay to profit off, our soldiers, fallen soldiers. They think it's okay to profit off that. Those people need to go to prison. And Tulsi Gabbard wants to make that stop. So that's why I've always supported Tulsi Gabbard. And now she's talking about this important domestic policy that will stimulate the economy like crazy. But she's great. So I'm really glad she says she's sticking in the race as long as she has the support of her people. She's not running for Congress again. She's not running for re-election for her congressional seat. So, she doesn't have anything else to do except for run for president, and I think she was a big Bernie supporter in 2016, and I think she saw how heartbroken Bernie Sanders supporters were when he, said, "Okay, I lost," which is fucking what? No. What was those elitist Democrats called? Super delegates. shove Hillary Clinton down our throat to give Hillary the win. But the people clearly supported Bernie Sanders. If it were not for the fake superdelegates, which somehow are more important than the voice of the people, Bernie Sanders would be president right now. You fucking stinking cunt Democrats. Excuse me. But today, since Andrew Yang has dropped out of the race, Tulsi Gabbard has added the universal basic income, which is $1,000 a month to every single American from age 18 until the day you die. So basically, no one has to live in the street anymore, ever again, if they don't want to, because they have rent money and they have food money. So there you go. And that seems like a really good plan, especially when there's all this homeland. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but there's a lot of homelessness around Seattle, and it's really sad. It really harshes my buzz a lot, So, and I think it harshes everybody's buzz. If you have this lovely little neighborhood where you have your lovely little home, that's your lovely little nest egg that you've worked to make be a lovely little home. You did the yard and you did the interior, and it's almost the house of your dreams. A place where you could stay for the rest of your life. And then all of a sudden a homeless encampment moves in down the street. It's not that the homeless shouldn't have a place to go. I'm certainly suggesting that. I think they should. I think we should make it a giant priority. It's that that's not the way that your little dream house neighborhood was. And now it's this, and it doesn't have to be that way. Like I've said again and again, when we lift up the lowest among us, when we make their world a better, safer place, we make our world. That's the same world that we live in, the same neighborhood that we share. We make their world a better place. We make our world a better place. How can you not want your world to be a better place? Okay? And it's so simple. We lift up the lowest among us. We make sure that there aren't homeless. We make sure that, we have to end this drug war. A big part of it is the drug war. All these people, not all of them, but a lot of them are just, drug war, victims, we're all basically that. I really see that clearly. But one way or another, we're going to make it better. Not with Trump as president. Trump's not going to do anything to end the drug war. He's not going to do anything to help homeless people, right? He's cutting Medicaid and Medicare in his $4.8 trillion budget, where he gives all this more money to the military, and Medicaid and Medicare cuts, and food stamps. He's cutting food stamps again. Okay, so again, I tell you, the easiest way to make our communities a better place, a more beautiful place, a more happy place, is to lift up the lowest among us. And Donald Trump is going, fuck those people. Fuck the people that are sick and need help from the government. Medicaid, Medicare cuts. Fuck those people. Fuck those people. Meanwhile, he's given away as much money as he can get away with giving away to his rich people buddies. To all the rich people. As many people as he can. All the rich people. You know what I'm saying? This is never going to work. And we deserve better. The people deserve better. And I think the people want it to be better. I think the people want want to be represented. They want to feel like the government that's doles out their freedom in little tiny trickles, actually it cares about them, right? I mean, I don't want the government to care about me. I don't like the government. I hate the government. I want to burn the fucking government to the motherfucking ground. I do. But the government that I would rebuild it with would care about people and represent people and try and make a better world for the people that it serves, instead of turning them into potential enemy combatants and criminals from day one. That's why they get to spy on your cell phones. That's why they get to take every one of your 12-year-old son's messages off of Facebook, his private messages, and put them in a folder, because he's a potential enemy combatant. You understand that, right? That's the government we have right now. And we deserve better. We're not shitty people that have to be spied on and have big old folders collected on them, have a permanent record that they have to worry about. That's not who we are. We're good. We want to be law-abiding citizens, but you over-criminalize everything. You won't let us grow flowers in the backyard because somehow flowers are dangerous. What is it you want me to see? Okay. What? What? What?
Tulsi, Gabbard. You spelled it wrong.
God, just say so, man. Fucking hell. There. Done. Fixed. Okay. Is that better? Fucking hell. Alright. So, where were we? Yes. Yay. Okay. Where were we? Does anyone care? Clearly not. I will just go ahead and play a clip. How's that? How about we play the Tulsi Gabbard Universal Basic Income clip? How's that? That sound good?
Tonight, the top of the Democratic presidential standings after the first two voting events features one veteran who was expected to be there and one newcomer who most definitely was not. South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg leads the delegate count after a strong second place finish in the New Hampshire primary. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders parlayed his virtual home field advantage to a win last night. He trails by one in the delegate count. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar scored an unexpected third-place finish, and former Vice President Joe Biden, who was nowhere to be seen last night in New Hampshire, was nowhere to be seen among the top four finishers. He came in a disappointing fifth. Correspondent Peter Ducey reports tonight from Nashua on where things stand right now. Good evening, Peter.
Good evening, Brett. Bernie Sanders had been warning Democrats all week that the turnout in Iowa wasn't as high as he had hoped, and his supporters here in New Hampshire took the hint. Democrats broke a record for turnout last night, but so did the Republican up for re-election.
Let me take this opportunity to thank the people of New Hampshire for a great victory tonight.
Bernie Sanders squeaked out a win on the Democratic side as President Trump raked in more votes than any incumbent president ever on the Republican side.
I got more votes than any incumbent president in many decades. That includes a lot of presidents, and it was really incredible, the love in New Hampshire.
Now Sanders, the national frontrunner, will try to keep it going in Nevada and South Carolina and on Super Tuesday, where Michael Bloomberg is waiting.
We don't need a revolution, we want evolution, and we need a nominee who can deliver it.
Today in Tennessee, an overflow crowd greeted Bloomberg, who prepares to enter the fold as Joe Biden struggles to hang in there, hoping more diverse states like Nevada and South Carolina help him finish better than 4th or 5th like he did in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Look, I've said many times, you can't be the Democratic nominee and you can't win a general election as Democrat unless you have overwhelming support from black and brown voters.
Today, the Biden campaign said they didn't need to win the first two.
We were never going to do particularly well in New Hampshire.
Elizabeth Warren is trying to help her disappointed supporters, emailing them to take a walk around the block, eat an extra piece of chocolate, hug your pet, adopt a pet, watch videos of cats and dogs who are friends, call a friend, whatever works. And she gave a shout out to her Senate colleague.
I also want to congratulate my friend and colleague Amy Klobuchar for showing just how wrong the pundits can be when they count a woman out.
Klobuchar believes last night's third place finish was just the beginning now that the impeachment trial has ended.
I have beaten the odds more than that, and you know, I'm not bolted to my Senate desk anymore.
Another Midwestern Democrat arguing they are on the way up. Runner-up, Pete Buttigieg.
I don't think most people would have thought this possible when we got into the race just over a year ago. But two states are two states, and we got to go on now and demonstrate a broad coalition.
3 candidates have dropped out since last night. Deval Patrick, Michael Bennet, and Andrew Yang, who was asked this morning about reports he may run for New York mayor.
We haven't ruled anything out at this point.
Now Tulsi Gabbard is pledging to fold Yang's main campaign promise into her platform.
I'm going to continue to carry this torch of a universal basic income that will reinvigorate our middle class.
Promising $1,000 a month to every American wasn't the winning platform last night, though. This one was.
The wealthy and powerful will start paying their fair share of taxes. We will make public colleges and universities tuition-free and cancel all student debt.
When Bernie Sanders had a heart attack 4 months ago, we were traveling with him in Las Vegas, and nobody knew what hospital he was in or how that could affect his campaign schedule for days. But last night, the 78-year-old erased any doubts about his standing in the Democratic primary field. Brett?
Peter Ducey, live in Nashua. Peter, thanks. The Iowa Democratic Party says it has agreed to conduct limited recanvassing of its caucus results at the request of the Buttigieg and Sanders campaigns. The party says it expects that recanvass to begin Sunday and last for 2 days. It will transmit details on costs to the campaigns Friday and await their decisions. But just moments ago, some breaking news. We learned that embattled Iowa Democratic Party Chief Troy Price has submitted his resignation. He called the failure to report the caucus results for several days unacceptable.
All right, time for some dabs in space. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed, but when they started talking about Tulsi Gabbard, it said exit ramp underneath her, and they lumped her in with they said a number of the people have stopped, ended their campaigns because after the New Hampshire primary, and then they kind of added Tulsi Gabbard into there. But Tulsi said that she said she's going to go until until her supporters don't want her to go anymore. And I believe, again, she was a big supporter of Bernie Sanders in 2016, and I think that she really saw and felt how heartbroken the Bernie Sanders supporters were. When he was like, okay, now go support Hillary. Because Bernie Sanders supporters were like, No, it's just not. That's just not an option here. We actually have souls, and we're not quite ready to sell them. So we will not make a deal with the devil. But you go right ahead, Bernie. But I think Tulsi saw that really clearly, and I still am hurt by that. I still am hurt by Bernie Sanders not saying, no, Hillary Clinton is the worst possible person, to be the candidate. He should have been there from start to finish. He should have been, no, Donald Trump will make a better president than Hillary Clinton, because that's the fact. That's why he's president now anyways, because the damn Republicans, the Democrats, all the same, because the damn Democrats won't care about what their people want. They're again fucking with the election all over again. Bernie Sanders, if they hadn't fucked with Iowa, Bernie Sanders should be way out in front already. It should be obvious that at least that he's the leader in the race. But I thought that it's interesting that Tulsi Gabbard added the universal basic income to her presidential platform, and she says she's going to stay in the race as long as she can, because I think that that's a really important part of the domestic discussion. We deserve better. That might be part of what we deserve better. My big thing is a 21st century infrastructure. I don't know why that's my big thing. I just know that it would be really, really good for our country. And when I say I don't know why, because I probably won't live long enough to be able to enjoy it or, benefit from it in any way. But I know that it would be good for our country. And although I may hate our government and I want to burn it to the ground, I love our country. I love my countrymen. I love the working class. I want to see them do as good as possible, and coast to coast 21st century infrastructure project would mean lots and lots and lots and lots and lots, endless amounts of really good paying jobs, and it would be something that really could begin to breathe life back into the middle class. And again, that's not something for me. I don't aspire to be middle class. But I love my working class brothers and sisters, and I want them to be able to have decent lives, and that's the reason that I want to see that's the reason that I want to see a difference between an actual difference, actual choice. I want to see America. I want to see America's heartland. I want to see the American working class have a real choice between a bitch boy billionaire born with a gold spoon in his mouth who's never been held accountable a single day in his whole fucking life, or Bernie Sanders, someone who every single day of his career has talked and fought for the working class. Talked about and fought for the working class. And because we all know that he's not like those other Democrats. We all know that he's not part of that game. At least that's what all the other Democrats say, right? And I think it's a real choice. There's a real difference there between, the two of those choices. And I really would like to see where America's soul lies, because a vote for Donald Trump right now is a vote for war with Iran. And that is probably why the media is pushing to get Donald Trump reelected. because the media would like nothing more than a war with Iran. Because if we were in a hot war with Iran, that would also mean a war with China and a war with Russia, and that would mean just news reports from everywhere and people having to tune into it, because otherwise they don't know what's going on in the world. They love this coronavirus shit. I have a coronavirus update. I have a local story where it talks about how it looks like the coronavirus may be slowing down. The infection, the rate of infections may be slowing down. And then I have a national story where they're saying, we're all going to die. 60% of you are going to get coronavirus. Literally. They say that in the fucking thing. I have that. I have U.S. troops got fired on in Syria today, and there's like a kid running away, like a little kid. It's really scary. I have a video of that. I have a weed store robbery video. I have a trucker had a steel beam come through his windshield, and it was stopped. I have that video before it went right through his chest. School shooting drills. School shooting drills are causing your children traumatic stress or post-traumatic stress disorder. Your children are being fucked by the police state and their school shooting drills. And the teachers are sounding the alarm bells about it. So I think that's a pretty important video. And we all have to recognize this, not that anybody cares about the post-traumatic stress, because basically we all suffer from that. But it's the police state that's pushing this on your kids, and the police all suffer from post-traumatic stress, so they don't give a fuck who else suffers from it, because people, it's like when you see these survivors of these school shootings and stuff, they come out and they talk, and it's clear that they're suffering from post-traumatic stress, it's a mental disorder. It affects you. It affects the decisions that you make. It affects the clarity of your thought process. So we hear these people, these survivors, come out from these shootings, and they're like, oh, we have to take away everything. All your rights have to be taken away. Otherwise, we're never going to be safe. This person now has a mental disorder, and we're supposed to, because of what they say, we're supposed to take away our rights. We're supposed to limit our rights in some way. This is, and again, when you take this thing to the next level, where you have this discussion continuously, right? These people, are traiped out in front of us. These survivors, these victim survivors, and we have to listen again and again how is it Boston Strong, right? And it's natural. As I'm saying, these school drills are causing your children the post-traumatic stress. But these other things, these interviews, these endless interviews with these people who are suffering from this tremendous post-traumatic stress, they are causing us post-traumatic stress, because we have to listen to what they're going through, and we're heartfelt people, and we're like, man, that's horrible, and we begin to take on some of their post-traumatic stress. And because, again, I believe that these mental disorders are catchy. So you have to be careful. So anyways, they're doing that to your kids, and they're doing it to us with these stories, endless stories of, this could happen to your children, and then that gets in our head, and we have to think about that endlessly. Instead of just saying, there was a shooting that happened today, here's the facts of the shooting, and now here's the other things that happened today. Okay, but no, it's like this giant event that everyone has to take into their heart and go, oh, I feel the cancer on my heart, and the cancer is assault weapons. Oh, you know what I mean? This is a psychological operation on us all. We're all suffering from the post-traumatic stress now, and we have to be able to recognize that, when these people are traipsed out, or whatever, when they're marched out in front of us to go, oh, look at this strong person who's coming to let you know how strong they are, and how they want you to be strong too and help them with their fight. No, they're suffering from a mental disorder, and now you're spreading it to other people. We don't make our laws based on people with mental disorders. We make our laws based on, the needs of the people, and we keep our laws as minimal as possible because it's the land of the free. Right? Alright, so, what video would you like to see next? I have no idea. I hope everyone's doing well. You understand this is a call-in show, right? The telephone lines are open, see? The number is 805-669-6397. That's 805-MOX-NEWS. Thanks so much for tuning in this evening to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And I have a bunch of clips for you. I have even one more that's not on the list. I even have one more that's not on the list. So, what do you want to see? Fucking tiger clip? No, you want to see that. You want to see the coronavirus clip? I don't know. No one's talking to me. Never call the police. Never. Never is a long, long time, Wilco. But think twice if you're going to call the police, because it could cost you your life or someone else. Weed store robbery, that is a very good story. Oh, I know. Honk more, wait longer. You want to see that? There we go. That's a good one. Honk more, wait longer. I love this story.
Next, India banning honking car horns in its big cities. It's a bid to reduce noise pollution in the most densely populated areas. The idea began in Mumbai. It's now catching on in the capital, New Delhi.
It's notorious for the sound of its car horns. Mumbai. The Indian megacity sounds a bit like this. But Mumbai police are now hoping to change that. In a video, officers showcase a new tool they're using to dissuade drivers from honking, the punishing signal.
One day, we connected decibel meters to a few signal poles around the city. If the decibel level went over 85 dB, the signal would reset and stay red for longer.
Honk more, wait more. A campaign by Mumbai police that's also catching on in the capital, New Delhi. The video has gone viral with some 3.5 million views.
This will allow drivers to gradually get used to honking less. And what's more, they won't do it for no reason, because they'll be punished if they do.
But some drivers don't agree. They say honking is a tool for survival in India's chaotic traffic. Many of the country's emblematic rickshaws even seem to encourage it, with horn please painted on in bright letters.
We think that making more noise will make things move faster. That's why most people honk. We'd like to have the road just for us.
Honking can be key for avoiding accidents, but it can also have negative impacts on health. Excessive noise pollution can damage hearing and induce stress. Findings that may prompt other Indian cities to follow Mumbai's lead in urging drivers to honk responsibly.
Isn't that a great story? I love that story. I don't much care for car honking, especially when it's done in anger. If it's like an emergency thing, like, hey, I'm coming, get out of the way. But if it's like, get the fuck out of my way, asshole, I don't care for that. So I kind of like that story. Oh yeah, follow me and do exactly as you see. This is Gorilla Glue. Gorilla Glue. Dabs in space. All right, so I got that going for me, which I needed. Thank you very much. All right, so you guys like that story? I like that story a lot. The honk more, wait more. I like that. Okay, so what do you think about this universal basic income, caller? Oh, wait, we don't have any callers. For whatever reason, can you guys see this telephone number here at the bottom of the screen? This is a call-in show. That means, I know you all have phones. That means you dial the phone and say, hey, sup, Monty? Thank you.
Take the call.
Hello, caller.
Hey there.
How are you tonight?
Good. Chris from New York.
Who?
Chris from New York.
Hey, Chris, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
Hey, yeah, so you're saying with the UBI and Tulsi Gabbard, I love it. I think that's awesome. I saw him on one of the shows earlier talking about whoever supports UBI, he's going to back. So I think this is such a strong move for her.
You saw, who was saying that? Andrew Yang?
Yeah.
Right on.
He was on one of the morning shows they were interviewing him. And you know, they like the pressure, and they're like, hey, who are you going to endorse in the race? And it's like, whoever's going to support UBI.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just awesome. And such a good play by Tulsi to hop on board with that, too.
She's a smart person, man. She knows, she seems to understand the game pretty well, what's going on. And, you know, it's not like she's playing a game, but she's, you know, if there's a game going on, you know, you have to be able to work your way through it. And I think she's doing a pretty good job, even though she's not getting the credit that she deserves because of the mainstream.
It's hard to watch, too,
yeah.
Especially in the progressive communities. I feel like she deserves a lot more credit than she gets.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, I think she plays that long game really well. And, you know, not only is she diplomatic on the international side, domestically she's playing diplomacy as well. You know, I see a lot of these progressives getting angry at her about voting present, but who's going to be that person in the middle after Bernie Sanders wins and then to heal the divide? You know, nobody else has the trust of the right like Tulsi Gabbard. So yeah, I found myself really frustrated, you know, with how she's been treated in the media, even in progressive media. I was just at a CSA event recently, and you know what? Like, even they were surprised. And they were like, why Tulsi? I'm like, give me a second to explain it. But I like the coverage of your coverage of Tulsi, and I just wanted to say I appreciate it.
Right on. Well, I think that she's a very important voice. And I really hope that, my big hope is that Bernie Sanders is going to pick her to be his running mate. And then
I've been praying for that since 2016 when she dropped out of vice chair. It was the writing on the wall. It's the right person with the right character.
She's so the right person. I mean, and there's all these female Democrats, right, who act like they're desperate to get a woman in the White House. You'd think, and yet nobody seems to be rushing. When you look at Tulsi Gabbard's audience, it's not a bunch of women. Unlike if you look at Amy Klobuchar, like every single person there is female, except for maybe 10% is male. So
it's that lazy establishment thinking.
Yeah.
When you get stuck on those shows, and that is what becomes what's real, and that vote blue no matter who, they're not even thinking about the race, right? Like they're coming into this, I just want to get rid of Trump, right? And that's why they're going to get screwed. They're going to try and stop Bernie. They'd rather lose to Trump than win with Bernie.
I question if they want to get rid of Trump. I mean, if they really wanted to get rid of Trump, they would look at how badly they fucked up in 2016 and do their best not to make that mistake again. And it doesn't look like they're doing, and it looks like they're doing exactly what they did in 2016 to me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And if we're able to, I volunteer a lot for Bernie's campaign, and, to see if we're able to get over that hump. Last time was brutal watching, and it was brutal afterwards and the time in between, but now we're here, we know what they've done, we know what they're doing already, we're prepared for it. I think Bernie's more prepared for it. I just wish he'd be a little bit more spicy when it comes up to that.
I really wish he'd take on the elite a whole lot more. The media, I mean, I think that he could really put the media in their place again and again, and for whatever reason chooses to act like they're bitch,
Yeah.
And that's and to a lot of people, that's going to be a major character flaw that I've even spoken about it. It's the thing that it's one of the things that concerns me the most about Bernie Sanders is that he doesn't seem to throw the punches that when he's in position that need to be thrown.
I think a good thing coming up is, I hesitate to say good thing with Bloomberg getting on the debate stage, but who's a better foil? He's not one of Bernie's friends. He's not going to be nice. He finally gets to lay a smackdown on a billionaire on stage.
Right.
Tom Steyer's too nice of a guy. You can't relate to him like you can hit Bloomberg.
Yeah, I know Bloomberg. That will be interesting to see. You're right.
Another thing that you mentioned briefly earlier with Tulsi also, with the establishment fighting against Bernie, that subject only gets raised if Tulsi gets to speak her piece. With having her as a VP, that conversation, nobody wants to rehash 2016, but Hillary Clinton keeps popping her head in. Tulsi's got to be able to put her 2 cents in on why she left. And, what's still wrong with the Democratic Party. So,
right. Well, that's what
that'll be a tough pill to swallow for Hillary supporters.
It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for all the Democratic elite people, because they're like, they and the media. Oh my God, this is why I want to see this so bad. It's not just that I can't wait to watch Tulsi Gabbard wipe the floor with Mike Pence in a debate. It's that I can't wait to watch her do it with the fucking mainstream media over and over again. Like she has so many times in the past. She just fucking laid out Anderson Cooper and fucking Spanky. Aaron Burnett, I call her Spanky, and fucking Wolf Blitzer again and again. She did it on Syria. Well, we can't trust the Pentagon, so I needed to go there and see it for myself. And what part of that don't you understand?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, when I graduated high school, it was coming, into the Iraq War, and that's all I've seen, right? And it's been bullshit since then. And I'm just ready for something new. And, Bernie and Tulsi is that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, man.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Chris. I think there's an awful lot of us that are just really tired of war and all this money being spent on war and making more war and who the fuck wants war in this world? Because all the people that I see and know don't want war. Okay?
Exactly.
And I'm talking about Iranians, I'm talking about Russians, I'm talking about Iraqis. None of these people want war.
Mm-hmm.
You know who wants war? Fucking rich people want war. That's the reason we're in these endless wars, because rich people want war. If they did not, the wars would be ended.
You know what's interesting too? The big anti-war generation, you know, like my parents' generation, you know, that they don't want more war. They don't want more war, but they're just so used to it as the norm that they end up voting against their own interests. And that's a tough thing, you know.
Well,
when you're having a political conversation.
I mean, if you get in any debates about Donald Trump, just say a vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a war with Iran. And if that's what you want is war with Iran, then you vote for Donald Trump and you'll get it. Okay?
Oh, man. What was the cost? 7 Medicare for all, I heard.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's gonna cost so much more than that, dude. I know. It's gonna be the ugliest thing ever. I mean, it's gonna make World War II look like nothing, like a walk in the cake. I mean, basically, fucking war with Afghanistan has made World War II look like a walk in the park almost, right? Because we're fucking still there for 20 years now. You know, they did the World War II in like 4 or 5 years. You know, done. Okay, we're out of here. Good. Fuck off, all you people. Let's go live our lives now. Our soldiers don't get that anymore. They're just in endless war. They don't get to come home and live their lives. They're just in endless war in order to make rich pieces of shit even more rich. And when I say pieces of shit, they're the lowest scum of the earth. I know you people love rich people, but they're the lowest scum of the earth who think it's okay to profit on our soldiers' deaths. That's who they are. That's who I'm talking about. So when you're wondering why does he keep calling rich people pieces of shit, that's why. What was that, Chris?
No, I was going to say, what are we spending? $800 billion, and we can only start our private enlistees at $19,000 for salary.
Yeah.
This is atrocious.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, you know, going back to...
And the $800 billion is just what we're told they're spending. You know, they're spending three times that at least.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing with Tulsi, too, you know, when going into the gun law, they all talk about this, you know, pivoting. Like, how are you going to pivot? You know, instead of pivoting, you know, why don't you just give someone that's, you know, the right trust? And one of the interesting things I found is, you know, especially on Fox News, the sentiment around anti-war has grown so much more. I mean, it's not gone, but, you know, to hear that on that side and not think that it's come from Tulsi being on there so often, I think that's something really serious to look at. And how many Republicans she can bring over during the general election.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing that I think too, is I think that there isn't a better choice that Bernie can make, simply because she will attract so many people from the Trump camp. She'll pull Trump voters. That's the main reason. I mean, besides the fact that she's the best possible candidate that I see anywhere to be in the White House, she will attract more Trump voters, I think, than any other possible candidate. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep those fingers crossed. Keep praying.
I got my fingers crossed for sure.
All right. Well, I gotta head out. So it was really nice talking to you. I'm glad I called in.
Yeah, I'm glad you called in too, Chris. I look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
For sure. I'll reach out.
Okay. Cool. Stay cool.
Bye.
Bye. And that, Chris, I think you said he was from New York.
You need to press 1.
I am pressing 1. It doesn't even let me get my finger over there. Hello, caller.
How's it going, Mike?
It's going good. How about you?
It's going great.
Right on. Well, keep up the good work.
We're starting a new job tomorrow, so that's a good change.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. No more paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So right now I'm working for $15 an hour, and I'm spending 8 hours or 9 hours inside a building. So I leave the house when the sun comes up, and I get home, and then it's half an hour later the sun comes down.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm just living my life in that building, and I live a block away from the ocean in Daytona Beach, so it's extra. So it hurts extra that I'm not at the beach enjoying my life. I'm in some building making some other guy really rich while I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Well, listen. Pretty soon the sun is going to stay up a lot later, and you'll be able to go out and enjoy some sun when you get off work.
I know, but see, I can't be looking forward to that.
Well, no, I'm sure you can go and look forward to things that now when you get off work. I'm just saying, don't focus on the negative because.
No, but I'm saying now I'm going to be working doing home security systems, and it only takes about 3-4 hours to install a system, and then the rest of the day is mine. Meanwhile, I make quadruple what I make at this $15 an hour job. So not only will I get paid 4 times as more, I get to have the rest of the day or half the day to live my life.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
What a change in the life that is.
That sounds pretty good, man. So is that company pretty busy then? I mean, you're gonna keep you working a lot, or?
Yeah. They have plenty of work.
Good. I don't know what it's like installing alarm systems. I don't know if that's
It's very easy. Once you learn it, it's just you can do it with your eyes closed and you memorize all the programming.
Yeah.
And it's just, your hands are working while you're talking to the customer about the weather,
Yeah.
But universal basic income. So here's my idea. Here's what I've been proposing. Why would you give? That was my problem with Yang all along. Why would you give $1,000 to a rich person who would wipe their ass with it?
So that they can't say that it's unfair.
I don't care. Wait, why do you care about fairness? They've been siphoning money from the problem.
No.
For decades.
The problem is that they own the fucking politicians. So if that's some kind of an argument, we have to get all those arguments. Andrew Yang's a very smart person, and he's not trying to get himself an extra $1,000 a month, okay? He's trying to get all the fucking problems out of the way and try and make this thing a reality. And one of the problems, if you say, well, we don't give it to the rich people, you know what I mean? And it's not just the rich people. It's, well, these people can't have it. And then the next thing you know what? Felons can't have it. People with this kind of conviction can't have it. That, you know what I mean? It's this slippery slope thing where you just go, no, it's a universal basic income. Everyone gets it. That's all. It's simple.
In my perfect world, the universal basic income would be everyone over the age of 16 that's a U.S. citizen gets $4,000 a month if they make less than $150,000 a year.
Yeah.
That way the 16-year-olds will start a savings account. They'll be able to buy a car that's actually safe instead of these broken down cars that is always your first car. Imagine how many 16-year-olds die in a car accident because they bought a piece of shit car that, didn't have airbags because that's all they could afford. And that's why I'm starting it at 16 years old, not 18 or higher. And now it's $4,000 a month. That's plenty of money because we do live in the richest country in the planet, and every other country should look at us as a utopia, and we should live as utopians, where we literally have more money than we can sometimes spend in a month. That way you're building up a savings account. How many people can say they have $200,000 in their bank account for a rainy day, in case you die, you pay for your own funeral, not leave that on top of your family that's already broke. Everybody in America, because we're the richest country on the planet, should have at least $200,000 in their bank account to use any way they wish, right? Because that's what everybody says. Well, what are you going to do with all this money if you're getting $4,000 a month? You save it. You take care of That would eradicate hunger and homelessness overnight.
Yeah, I think so. I agree. I think that the $1,000 a month will eradicate an awful lot of that too.
That's not enough. Look at my situation. I think $15 an hour.
Yeah,
$1,000 a month would not help me. That would not help me.
Of course, it would help you. Of course, it would.
It would relieve some, but I still have other bills. It would relieve some of the stress and all that, but it's still not enough.
Well,
not enough to live like a happy.
Okay. Here's the deal. Okay, is that what we can do is we can get to the place where we agree that universal basic income is something that we should try and strive for, and then once we try to begin to make that happen, then the debate will become about how much is enough. But first we have to get to some kind of an agreement that there should be this safety net in place for every single person.
And not replacing that's what they're also trying to say with Yang. Oh, he'll give us $1,000, but then they'll take away Social Security. They'll take away all these safety nets that are there and replace it with that $1,000, which would actually make it worse.
Yeah. I think that this is again where we have to get to this agreement that we all think that this is a good idea, and that enough people are trying to make that happen. And once we get to that place, then we can worry about all these other things.
See, I'm a big guy. I'm about 500 pounds, right? I try to apply for disability to try to just focus on going to the gym, lose this weight, get healthy again, and then join the workforce again. But then I'm looking up how much disability gives you maximum, and I could have sworn it said about $1,700. If you are given the maximum, which is not enough to live off of. You can't pay your rent and pay your bills with that with that money. So you get discriminated in the workforce because of your weight. You can't get hired to do a job because of your weight. But then you can't go on disability because that's not enough to get paid. So you're stuck in this limbo, I'm glad I'm lucky I am getting hired. Like I said, I'm starting a job tomorrow.
Yeah, that's really good.
What if I didn't?
Well,
but what if someone didn't take that chance, or maybe he'll actually
what's your name? What's your name?
This is Art. I've called
Art. Okay, Art. Yeah, I remember Art. No, I remember. I couldn't remember your name. Hey, Art. So listen, how much do you walk?
Oh, every day. I got a couple of puppies, and not only at work, but I take them out for a walk at least for an hour every day.
Yeah, you should try and do your best to try and double and triple that. Because
that's what I'm talking about. I could be walking.
Because no, listen to me. You don't have to be fucking working out and pumping weights and all that stuff. What you need to do is walk as much as possible, and that will lose the weight, and it will help to make you strong.
But that's how I started out this phone call. I could be, if we had universal basic income, I could be walking on the beach and losing this weight instead of sitting in a building all day, from sunrise to sunset.
Right, but it sounds like you're changing jobs, and you're going to be in a position now where you're going to be working half as much and making even more money, so you'll be able to do more walking. So really try and get it up to like 3 hours a day, and you'll be so surprised at how much weight that takes off, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Just walking.
Besides the whole work thing, I think that Bernie's VP should be Nina Turner, only because they've got such a great relationship going already. She'll be the first black woman. I know there's a woman. I know there won't be a female president, but that's the next best thing. A vice president of color and a female. I know it shouldn't be identity politics, but that would be a great another step forward for America to have a female and a woman of color as a vice president.
Well, Bernie said that he'll choose a woman of color as his running mate. The only thing is that Nina Turner right now is Bernie Sanders' presidential campaign manager. Okay, and if he becomes the nominee, she'll be the first woman of color to be running an actual presidential campaign and be in charge of running one, and then she'll be in the perfect position to be his like his chief of staff. I mean, she would make an amazing chief of staff. He needs like a sergeant at arms, and we really got to get Tulsi in the White House, man. So
see, the thing is that if Warren wins, she's gonna stack her cabinet with some middle of the road people. Not the people.
Warren's
that
not
we
going to
like.
win. Warren's not going to win. She can't win. She can't beat Trump.
We could get Tulsi. We could get Yang.
Yeah.
All the people that we like could be in part of this cabinet.
Yeah,
so
because they're the only ones that fucking don't act like somehow Bernie is a crazy old fucking socialist.
Right.
So yeah, those would be great people to have in the cabinet for sure. I'd love to see Andrew Yang in there, and I really want to see Tulsi in the White House, man. And Nina would make a great other positions too. She'd make a great Secretary of the Press. She handles the press amazingly, even though Donald Trump doesn't have a real Secretary of the Press anymore. I'm sure that once we get another president, an actual president who's able to not lie every word out of his mouth, that the Secretary of the Press will matter again, and that once again we'll get daily White House briefings, which is a tradition for generations now out of the White House until Donald J. Trump became president, and then nobody could keep up with his lies, so they had to end the daily White House briefings, even though they were getting more people watching than anything else on TV.
What's that saying? That Trump drained the swamp and then found his cabinet down there?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Art, what's the weather like in Daytona?
Oh, it was a nice 84 today.
Wow.
It was pretty hot, and it was like the ocean was steaming. The whole you couldn't see more than maybe 2 blocks on the road. It was so foggy, but it was really cool.
Yeah, it sounds
awesome. Off the ocean, and like it was so warm that the water was steaming off. It was cool. It was a pretty cool effect today.
Right.
Can't complain.
It sounds pretty good, man.
Yeah, and I forget what I wanted to tell you about Nina, about Tulsi. Well, whatever. I'll put it in the comments if I remember.
All right, Art. Well, it's good to hear from you, and I'm glad you got some canine love to keep you feeling, lots of hugs and kisses.
Oh, that's what I was saying, but I think the husky ate a sock, so we might have an emergency room visit if he doesn't pass it or throw it up.
Well,
I don't know if it's a secret.
Well,
I could have sworn I saw him chewing on a sock, and when I went up to him, the sock was missing. It was gone, so it went somewhere.
Yeah, well, you'll get through it. It's they're tough.
Yeah.
All right, Art. It's good to hear from you.
All right, thank you.
Stay cool. See ya.
Bye.
That's our buddy Art from Daytona Beach. And somebody was trying to call while Art was on the phone. If you want to call now, the Do Not Disturb is off. And I think that, again, this details of the universal basic income will get sorted out when we get to the point to where we actually start trying to make it a reality, Hello, caller. Hello?
Hi, yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Hey, yes.
You got to turn off. You got to turn down your computer, man.
Sorry, there was a delay. Hey, this is T-Wob.
Okay.
From Iowa. I called you a couple of days ago.
Sure. How's it going, T-Wob?
Yeah, things are not going well for the Iowa Democratic Party.
Yeah, the guy resigned today, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He resigned.
That's good, right? Isn't that good?
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good because he was getting a lot of pressure. But it's also a very Machiavellian move.
I think so too. They step out of the limelight, and then everybody's there's like there's no one to hold responsible. Basically, go ahead. Why do you think that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. They're using him as a scapegoat to basically do a power move.
Well, there's
people. Yeah.
Go ahead.
People have been telling me that he got a lot of pressure because I run in a lot of left-wing circles here in Iowa, or at least the area that I live in, and people have been trying to convince me that he was pressured to resign by the voters.
I'm sure that he's been under.
That's very hard to believe.
I'm sure that he's been under an extreme amount of pressure because I bet the guy's getting death threats. That would be my bet.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that what I'm sure of. I guess I don't have like definitive proof of it, but what I presume is that his resignation came from the DNC. He was being pressured heavily by the DNC and the oligarchs that control the DNC, and
because they want to be in charge of the recount and stuff, or
so they're going to be having. The reason why is because they're going to be having a secret meeting apparently in Des Moines in the next couple of weeks. The DNC and the IDP, the Iowa Democratic Party, is probably going to be the executive director, who actually has a lot more power than the head of the party. And my guess is that they're going to be doing something. They're not being very forthcoming with the information, but probably the caucus is going to be over with. They're axing that. They're probably going to either change it to a primary or, I don't know, do something.
Okay.
That's probably done for.
Yeah. That's too bad.
And I don't know.
That's too bad. I like caucusing. I think caucusing is so much more community oriented.
It really is, because it does require people to. It's more fun, and it's like it's kind of our tradition. Even if we didn't do it, even if we're not first, it's fine.
Yeah.
It just would be nice if they kept it. They're probably going to act it because they got to do something. And the Machiavellian way of keeping power is by using scapegoats.
Right.
And just getting rid of things and then appeasing the public or the voters while you retain power.
Yeah.
So they're going to get rid of it just to appease everybody nationally and save face. So I just wanted to give you an update on that as far as the things that I heard.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad you called, T-Wob. I imagine that there's a lot of hard feelings on the ground there. Like people probably very disgruntled about the election.
Yeah, a lot of people are very kind of depressed politically.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, you see, we saw this happen in 2016, and we all had this big fucking idea that, the Democrats were going to do the same fucking shenanigans again in 2020. Yeah. and boom, it happens, and then you go, that's very depressing, because you know what that means? That means another 4 years of Donald Trump. And I think most people recognize that, and it's so sad that the Democratic elite is too stupid. I don't know, maybe they want Donald Trump in there for another 4 years, you know?
They most likely would be okay with, if it meant Trump over Bernie, they would love to have Trump back in office.
I think it seems like that to me too.
Yeah, and they will probably fight harder to stop Bernie than to stop Trump.
Yeah, they have been already.
They're the same donors.
Yeah, they do. You're right. You're absolutely right. They have the same donors. You're absolutely right. I agree 100%.
And it's mind-boggling how incompetent and stupid the establishment is. I mean, they do have a lot of power, but they're not actually very smart at all. Like, if they really wanted to win, they would not be having both Biden, Klobuchar, and Pete Buttigieg splitting the establishment vote.
Yeah.
The traditional vote. If they were smart. But they're not. And Warren is fading away. And Bernie is rising. And they have no idea what to do with all this power and this influence. I guess they're just paper tigers at the end of it all.
I think really what it is that they're just not as well-schooled politicians as they themselves believe that they are. And I'm not talking about the candidates. I'm talking about, the Democratic elite again, who think that they can steer things this way and steer things that way. Even the media, acting as if somehow they can, they try to do the same thing with Barack Obama. They tried to act like he was just some nobody out of nowhere, and Hillary Clinton was gonna fucking bulldoze him over, and then it didn't work.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it because Bernie's campaign is truly unprecedented. I think it's breaking historical records. And you turn on MSNBC for 5 minutes, and you can see the dread on these people's faces.
Yeah.
I don't watch it per se, but there's left wing commentators who cover it.
Yeah.
And
it
is say again?
Yeah, I have a clip from Tucker tonight where he's showing a bunch of clips from MSNBC.
Okay.
Yeah, and how those people are just fucking, they're so crooked and insane, and they don't want a fair race, and they don't care what the people think. I mean, exactly the opposite of what, of what they're supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're corporate controlled entities.
Yeah.
And, they have corporate interests, just like you and I have our own personal interests. The corporations and their talking heads have their own personal interests.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And another thing that I wanted to bring up that you guys had discussed was Tulsi Gabbard. I honestly think that she would make an amazing Secretary of State.
I think that's probably true. I mean, I would love the idea of a Secretary of State greeting every single dignity with aloha. I love that idea. But I want her in the White House. I think she'd also make an amazing Secretary of Defense.
That's also true.
Yeah, but I want her in the fucking White House.
I heard that, man.
Yeah.
I heard that. And I hope she's still, to be honest, she's not as viable as some of the other candidates. And I hope that she continues on. I mean, in New Hampshire, she is doing much, much better than she was in Iowa.
Yeah.
So that does show some growth there, but honestly, I don't think she's going to make it.
No, she's not. She doesn't look like she's a viable candidate, but that's not the point. The point is that she's an important voice. You know, and I don't want to compare her to like Vermin Supreme, who I love because, you know, she's, you know, but I think Vermin Supreme is a fucking, I'm so glad that he's a candidate. You know, because I haven't seen him in this 2020 race yet. I keep hoping to, but I've heard that he's doing some campaigning. But you know, he makes these points that are so important, you know, and that's why you want these voices in the race, so that we can hopefully have a little bit of this discussion, which is so important that nobody else talks about. That's who Tulsi Gabbard is. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And without her voice in the race, I don't think that I would have had some of my own viewpoints on foreign policy. Like, for example, one of the things that she moved me on was being able to talk with and meet with dictators and heads of extremist groups. She moved me on that, because before I thought that would be a bad thing. You're legitimizing them, but it is always in an act of peace and trying to find common ground with leaders, whether they're state leaders or non-state leaders. And she was a really important voice. I think that on foreign policy that she doesn't get a lot of credit for.
She's probably been the single most important voice on Syria for the last 10 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially Syria.
Yeah.
And she really took a stand on that, and she was getting a lot of hatred.
Yeah.
And when she was talking about that stuff, and it took a lot of courage to do that. And
yeah.
I really admire her for that shit. That's why her voice is very important in this race, and in presidential politics, from now on.
I sure hope so, man. That's why I want her in the White House. I want her in that second in position power to be the next president. I want her one step away of being the president, because that will make it so much easier when the next election comes around for her to take that one step, you know.
You mean like as a VP?
Yeah.
I don't think that she should be she should be Bernie's VP. The reason why is because it becomes every vice president that's always ran, and I guess I'm going off of historical information, but every vice president that's always ran has either not won or only won one term.
Well,
and was voted out.
Yeah,
so I just think that
but these are different types of people. These are different characters than what we're used to seeing, as far as we all can tell. You know, and I think what's going to happen is that the American people are going to fall in love with being actually represented, actually having their voices heard for a change. You know, I think we'll see.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Tulsi does become Bernie's VP, or in his cabinet.
Well,
at least
she'll be in his cabinet. I would bet on it. But she is the single person that will pull the most Trump voters. Okay, and that's probably an incredibly important thing to make happen, is to get as many Trump voters coming this way, because there were Trump voters, which means they're going to be talking to other Trump voters and try and get them to come this way too. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Especially in a VP spot.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because she'll be having the voice, and people will hear what she's saying, and I mean, it's like you can have Trump, who's going to lead us into war with Iran, which she's going to say every single interview, or you can have me and Bernie, who will begin to bring the troops home immediately.
Wow! Now you're making me change my mind. Wow! Yeah, that's a good point. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate it, and I'm going to let you go.
Hey, T-Wop, it's good to hear from you, man. I'm glad you called.
Yeah, and I'll be tuning in.
Okay, I look forward to hearing from you again soon.
All right. Thanks, man. Bye-bye.
Bye. And that's our buddy T-Wop from Iowa. And I'm going to play a clip for you about U.S. troops in Syria. It's a very powerful clip. Pay attention.
Tonight, American troops have come under fire in Syria, the U.S.-led patrol, and the confrontation with pro-Syrian supporters, the Americans firing back. Those Americans, part of the U.S. troops still in Syria on the hunt for ISIS when the confrontation happened. This video showing local supporters of the Syrian regime opening fire at a U.S. convoy. ABC's James Longman from Syria tonight.
Tonight, American troops attacked in Syria. U.S. military vehicles, their flags clearly visible, stopped at a Syrian regime checkpoint. Gunmen opening fire. A child runs away in the chaos. One gunman killed and another wounded. This is the first time the U.S. has been directly engaged by a government-backed group here. We've been on the ground here in Syria with the U.S. military, who are still working to keep the peace in Syria's complex civil war.
You get a sense of just how ferocious this attack must have been. Take a look at how badly damaged the turret is. And the gunner who was in there was covered in oil after those gunmen tried to set fire to this vehicle.
These American soldiers are some of only a few hundred left. In October, President Trump ordered the pullout of all U.S. forces, but the decision was reversed after international outcry for deserting the Kurds, who'd fought against ISIS alongside American troops. We met Major General Eric Hill, commander of the Special Ops Task Force. He told us the Kurds still had U.S. protection and that ISIS is still a threat.
How has the mission changed for the United States? Because I think a lot of people at home will be surprised to see that the U.S. is still here in Syria.
Right. Our mission now is very clear. We're still here to complete the enduring defeat of Daesh.
Daesh, ISIS fighters, and the new threat to the region since the US drawdown, countries like Russia moving into unguarded lands, trying to fill the vacuum. Just today, saw Russian soldiers among that crowd. As the US prepared to leave, the crowd began shouting, "Death to America." While driving with one of the American...
Focused on making sure that everything is de-escalated.
Today's incident is a stark reminder of the dangerous limbo this region was left in after the chaos of October's partial withdrawal. For U.S. troops
that are shooting, it was a strange piece. And then, but that kid running away, scary, man. But at the same time, hey, you want this? You want this? Do you want this? Come here. Come up here. Who's my beautiful baby? Who? That's right. You're my beautiful baby. Come up here. Come up here. Okay. Pizza. He loves pizza. All right, now go up on the couch. Go up on the couch. Go on, up on the couch. Up on the couch. Go on, up on the couch. There you go. Lie down. Good boy. What a good boy you are. You're such a good boy. Nice spot down by the river. Isn't that nice? With the Pikachu. Just you and Pika. Pika, down by the river. Gonna get a drink, huh? After that pizza? Okay, so, and that's my beautiful baby Boo Bear. Down by the river. With his buddy Pikachu. Okay, so let's see. There's that girl. There's that girl. You better stay out there, girl. There's no girls in the studio. We're not making those kind of videos. She's such a good girl. She's like, I can't come in. Okay, I'm going. I'm away. She's a good girl. When she first came into the house, she came in and she ran into my bedroom and she jumped up on the bed. And I said, "What are you doing on my bed? Only Rufus is allowed on that bed." And never went on it again. Oh well. She's a good girl. Okay, so let's see. I have other videos. Should we play another video, or you want to take a phone call? Should we take a phone call? How about a phone call? That sounds pretty good, right? It's 805-669-6397. The other phone calls have been pretty good. It's 805 Mox News, right? So operators are standing by. My Boo Bear's waiting. You stay over there. You stay. All right, I'll go ahead and play it again. You know, if we weren't spending all this money on war, on this never-ending war, you know, and we had all this effort. Imagine all this effort, all this, you know, equipment and vehicles moved around the world, you know, in order to make war. Right? If we had taken all this effort and all this money and we tried to make the world a more green place, right? Just more lush, more green, more like, you know, the beautiful blue-green jewel that it's meant to be, you know, because this is what humans do. This is one of these things that humans do that they're really good at, which is grow things, you know, and have a video clip here of these people. And these people have no money, and they have very little water, and they don't have any dirt, and they're growing stuff. So imagine if we had all this equipment and all this $11 trillion that we spent on war over the last 20 years, and we took all that effort and we tried to make the world as green as possible. I mean, I love that idea. I'm going to do that here in my own
This morning,
kingdom.
The rate of new coronavirus infections appears to be slowing down. The total number of people who are sick with...
Now here's a question. Can old mattresses be used to grow food? Well, scientists in a Syrian refugee camp in the Jordanian desert are using mattress foam instead of soil to grow hundreds of plants. They're not just growing food for the camps, but they are recycling piles of discarded mattresses, and they are providing a hobby for the people living there, many of whom were actually farmers back in Syria. Our science correspondent, Victoria Gill, investigates.
Gardening in the confines of a refugee camp. Mohammed Dimafuz's family lost their home and their farm when they fled the war in Syria. Now, here in the Jordanian desert, he's able to teach his children how to grow vegetables in a very unconventional way, using old mattress foam.
It sounds like the garden has made this more of a real home. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely. It makes me feel like I'm in my home village back in Syria.
About 80,000 people live here. This is essentially a city that sprung up in a very short period of time. Most of the people that live here used to farm in Syria, and now there's very limited space. The soil is extremely poor.
Enabling people to grow their own food is a vital step towards making this a sustainable place to live.
Everything gets reused, repurposed. You know, nothing gets thrown away.
On their sustainability mission to the camp, these scientists found that what was thought to be a problem here was actually the way to give everyone a garden.
There was a warehouse full, and it was, we don't know what to do with these. There was no disposal mechanism. I've been to a landfill site and seen a tomato plant growing on an old sofa.
Really?
Yeah. And that's why I knew it'd work.
This is hydroponics. The foam supports the plants, so there's no need for soil. And this method requires much less water because it's kept where it's needed rather than draining away. In Zaatari, this whole system is made from recycled materials.
This is just one of the plants, and there's a whole, I don't even know how many are here, hundreds. And old coffee cup, bit of foam, there's the old mattress, and that just pops in there so it can get all its nutrients. It's amazing. Everything's recycled.
So far, more than 1,000 people have signed up for demonstration sessions like this.
Everybody gets a kind of a starter kit.
Yeah. They all got all the starter kits and they take it back with them for home, so they can start their own.
Growing nutritious food in a place with limited water and limited space could provide lessons for urban environments all around the world. Victoria Gill, BBC News, Jordan.
All right. So, I know the phone's working because I had a caller during that clip. So, you guys didn't miss out on anything. I think it was one of those like keyboard things where they push a button and it says stupid stuff. Actually, this was really hate-filled stuff. You didn't miss out on anything. Okay, so follow me and do exactly as you see. Only hopefully with the cleaner bong. Oh, by the way, I need to go and order a bong tonight before my sale ends. So if anybody wants to help out with the bong, that would be super nice of you. I'm trying to get somebody who wants to fucking kick one down, but it's... I don't get a lot of people writing me back from the glass shops. I don't know what their deal is. You'd think, I mean, we take fucking dabs every night. You'd think they'd want somebody, you know, showing off a piece of their glass, saying this is from so-and-so, and we're so glad that we have it, because my other glass is fucking filthy and I can't stand smoking out of it. It's so hard to see. This camera, I can't tell if it doesn't like the fractals, or it doesn't like my beard, or it doesn't like my t-shirt. Hey, where'd that Boo Bear go? You're supposed to be on the couch. Get back up on the couch. Get back. Woo! Boo Bear, get back up on the couch. Alright, that was a good puff. Gorilla Glue. So, I have many more clips. Well, not many more. I hope you guys like that green clip. Again, this is the way that I see humans, right? Humans, one of these things that we do, one of the most human things that we can do is to garden. What's happening? Hope it wasn't anything to do with one of the clips that we played, but regardless, these clips are pertinent to what I talk about. Okay, we talk about war, we talk about politics, and I talk again and again and again about making the earth green. Because it's easy to do. Again, this is one of the most basic things about being human. This is partially why I want to encourage people to grow cannabis, is because this is who we are. This is who, I mean, we've always been. And it's one of those things that, you know, being human is incredibly important. And gardening is an incredibly human thing to do. So I highly recommend gardening, and that's partially why I play the clip again. If we had the $11 trillion and all the effort and all the energy that we spent on making war over the last 20 years, and we put it into making the earth green, I mean, we'd be living on this amazing planet right now. And nobody would be going hungry. And for whatever reason, we choose to make war instead. Not because that's what anybody wants, except for the rich people. That's the sole reason that we make war. The sole reason. Okay, so, because if the rich people didn't want fucking war, the wars would end. The rich people own the politicians. The rich people want war. That's why we have endless war. It has to be. It only makes sense. Because clearly it's not because we have some kind of global enemy, considering that our border has been wide open since September 11th. Right? Our southern border, 4-year-old girls walk across the southern border completely undetected again and again and again since September 11th. There is no global terrorist threat against the United States. That's what that tells me. So, we're being lied to. There's no reason for these wars except for to make super rich people even more rich. And apparently, so that each and every one of you and your children can be considered an enemy combatant by this piece of shit garbage government. We deserve better, because I know that you may not be the greatest people in the world. You may not be the nicest guy. You know, a lot of times people call up and they say, well, I'm not that nice, you know. But you know what? You're not a fucking enemy combatant, you know? I mean, they're glad to look at people like me and call me an enemy combatant, you know? Because that means I don't have any rights. And for the same exact reason, they're glad to look at people like you. I don't own a gun. I don't own a car. I don't know how you think I could be an enemy combatant, except for I use my words. And this government needs to go. The CIA, the DEA. Oh man, I had a CIA story. I wonder where that CIA story went. I had a good CIA story. I got to go post that. They need to go. The DEA has brought us a heroin epidemic. The CIA has taught all of your local police departments how to spy on everyone, on all of us. It's disgusting. And we deserve better. It's not, again, we're not bad people. We're not criminals. We've just been over-criminalized. To the point of you can't just live your life how people have lived for 1,000 generations, you know, toiling the soil and making a good existence for you and yours. You can't just do that without breaking lots and lots and lots of laws, without government being so far up your ass they know what you ate for dinner last night. And we all know it's true, and we all feel that, regardless if you are a cannabis user or not. And a huge part of that is because of the drug war. Because at any moment, the cops can pull you over and say, how much money do you have on you? And if you say, I have $5,000, they'll say, where is that at? And then they will take it from you. The police will take your $5,000. And you know why? Because only a drug dealer or some other suspicious type of character would have $5,000 cash on them. And they do it day after day after day. And people never get that money back. And they never broke a single law. And that's the government that we have right now in this country. And I want it to go away. And why? Because I love freedom. I love the ideal of freedom. I love your freedom more than anything else. Well, that's not true. I love Mother Nature more than your freedom. Sorry. But that's because without Mother Nature, you won't have any freedom. That's the facts, Jack. Boiled down to a nutshell. Weed store robbery. Oh, school shootings, right. School shooting drills are giving your children post-traumatic stress. Okay? And again, it's not just the children. It's they bring these people out on television who are survivors of these shootings, of these mass shootings, and these people are broken and they're under extreme duress and suffering from mass post-traumatic stress. And for whatever reason, the media, again, because it fits their agenda, brings them out and brings them in front of the cameras. These people who are hurting so bad and broken, and they're in tears, and they're, oh, something has to be done so this never has to happen to anyone else. You know, and it causes you, if you're a heart-centered person who somehow might be hypnotized by the flashing lights of your television set, it causes you post-traumatic stress. Because you're like, yeah, those poor people. You might even cry. I've cried many times over war stories. Some of them probably even propaganda. And again, so this is what I'm saying, you know, is it's these drills. This is a story. This story I'm going to play for you now. These drills are causing your children post-traumatic stress, but not just that. The media coverage, instead of just saying, "Oh, well, we had this shooting, and this is what happened in the shooting, and we caught the person, and you know," and then move on. It's like, no, we have to bring these broken people out, and they have to tell us how horrible it is. It's so horrible. Like we don't already know that it's horrible to lose your child, right? They have to bring him on again and again and again and again for years. And if you don't believe that's causing us lots and lots of people post-traumatic stress, you're obviously not a heartfelt person. But so that is school shooting drills number 8, clip number 8. There you go.
2 national teachers unions are sounding the alarm on the negative effects of active shooter drills on students as more public schools engage in lockdown drills.
Yeah, this is a joint report with the Everytown for Gun Safety Support Fund, the American Federation of Teachers, and the National Educators Association. Q13's Jamie Tompkins has more.
Basically, this report is recommending against active shooter drills for students, and it points to concerns about the impacts on kids' mental health as well as limited evidence regarding the effectiveness. Instead, it encourages school safety plans that really focus on preventing gun violence. Now, what you're looking at here is file video from a story that we did back in 2018, highlighting an active shooter drill in a local school. Now, today, we talked to Linda Mullen with the Washington Education Association, and she says while our state doesn't have its own policy just yet, bottom line, we should be focused on making sure we aren't doing more harm than good.
In some cases, the drills are quite extreme, and you know, schools are supposed to be safe places, and the drills themselves were traumatizing kids, and that should not be the goal. I mean, schools are safe places. They're supposed to be safe places for our students. So if schools and districts are doing active shooter drills, they want them to think ahead about what they're doing and, you know, work ahead, notify staff, notify students, notify families.
And that is exactly what the principal at Montlake Elementary did. A Q13 News employee received an email today notifying them as a parent of a student that a drill is set to take place tomorrow. Now today, Mullen made it very clear that each district oversees their own drills, but the WEA is very focused on kids' well-being and finding ways to get ahead of this issue.
By the time you have an active shooter drill, something's already happened. You're planning for something that's already happened, where we can do more on the front end to provide mental health supports for our students and training for staff and other students age appropriate to be able to know what to look for kids who might be in trouble or be troubled.
Now, today's report suggests 6 guidelines for schools that conduct active shooter drills. First off, don't use simulations. Give parents advance notice. Give teachers and students a heads up, too. Address the content and the students' well-being. And finally, track the effectiveness of the drills. Guys, back to you.
Celebrate a game changer. Today's game changer is this teenager, Jaden Turner. She is the cousin of one of the students killed in the Parkland, Florida school shooting 2 years ago now. Jaden got up in front of lawmakers in New York State's House today to talk about Alyssa's Law, named after her cousin. Now, it would require a panic alarm in every public school that would silently and directly notify law enforcement of an emergency situation.
That is why we must pass Alyssa's Law, so that I can go to school feeling safe, and so that not one more child has to run out of their school screaming because they saw a bullet go through their classmate while sitting in math class, and so that every parent can send their son or daughter to school and know that they will be able to hug them when they walk back in the door.
Yeah, she's got a lot of support. New York State Senator David Carlucci, in fact, is calling on lawmakers to pass the bill, so we shall see.
All right.
And again, I wanted to put her on so that you guys could see what I'm talking about as far as like the that thing's spread out too big. I want to put her on as far as what I'm talking about these people who are like survivors, because that video was from today also. Both those videos were, well, actually the school shooter drill was from late last night, but the other video was from today. So let's see. Okay, so the school shooter drills. Again, and the cannabis is one of the most effective tools to countering the post-traumatic stress. It reprioritizes things to where this thing that caused you this horrible pain is not as important. It's not in the forefront of your mind because it doesn't help you. You recognize it doesn't help for it to be there. It doesn't allow you to live your life in any way. So you move on from it. The cannabis helps immensely. And you're not eating enough cannabis, in case I haven't mentioned that tonight. You need to eat more cannabis, okay? Let's see. So again, I put this lady on at the end, and she's like from the Parkland shooting, I guess, and which was what, 3 years ago now. So like I was saying, they drag these post-traumatic stress people, these people who are suffering from tremendous post-traumatic stress, out in front of the camera, and they continue to do it for years because it fits their agenda. You know, they're trying to get us to get rid of all these guns, give up our rights. But I just wonder, I mean, part of the reason I wanted to do this, part of the reason I wanted to put this here at the end of it, is in hoping that maybe her or someone like her who doesn't realize that they're just spreading their stress to other people. You know, I mean, it's not fair. You know, fuck the media for doing it, right? But the media is a piece of shit. And it's been a piece of shit forever, not just since Donald Trump came along. You know, I mean, for generations, the media has told us marijuana has no medicinal qualities, okay? And anyone with the slightest amount of researchability would be able to tell you for thousands of years, cannabis has been used as medicine. So whoever just said that is a fucking fool. And so they have no credibility. So again, and then they traipse these people out suffering from post-traumatic stress in order to maybe trigger a secondary form of trauma in you. Okay, so that you will say, so that this will be a trigger thing for you. Okay, so I just thought that I wanted to have that discussion. I wanted to make clear about this thing, about what the schools are doing to your children with these drills. You know, this duck and cover bullshit. You know, this thing where, you know, oh, we can all be vaporized in 45 minutes. So you have to duck and cover under your desk. Right? I mean, it's this boogeyman thing. You have to be in constant fear of the boogeyman, because in the next 45 minutes, he could take your life. And I don't know why you would want to take the king of the jungle, especially when they're this young, and just instill fear in them. Like, I mean, this fear that's being instilled in them through these shooter drills, this fear will live on in them for probably ever. Unless, of course, they get a healthy supply of cannabis on a daily basis. You're not eating enough fucking marijuana. How many times I gotta tell you? Eat your fucking marijuana. And your children don't need fucking pills. They just need a cookie. You know? It's that simple. So, coronavirus update. Oh, right. Okay, so I have a story about the coronavirus. And how it seems that the infection rate has seemed to have slowed, according to this story. And then later that I have, so that story is from Noon. It's a local Seattle news story, and then I tied it together with a evening news story from the mainstream media, and literally it goes from saying, you know, it looks like the infection rate is slowing, to 60% of humans could capture this coronavirus. So I'll play that for you now. I started to play it when I played the green clip.
This morning, the rate of new coronavirus infections appears to be slowing down. The total number of people who are sick with the virus is now nearly 45,000 worldwide. A total of more than 1,100 people have died from coronavirus. Nearly all of those deaths happened in China. The Chinese government says the number of new infections outside the area where the outbreak started has dropped for the 8th day in a row. Despite that promising news, much of China is largely shut down right now. Here in Washington, health officials are waiting on test results for just one more person who might have been exposed to the coronavirus. So far, there is still just the one confirmed case in our state. This Snohomish County man is now out of the hospital and recovering in isolation at home. A total of 25 people have been tested. 23 tests came back negative for the virus. However, state health workers are monitoring 486 people who are at risk of exposure to the virus.
And Molly, we are just learning that the wireless industry has just canceled its biggest yearly showcase due to concerns surrounding the coronavirus. The outbreak caused several participants to pull out of the Mobile World Congress, including Seattle-based Amazon. This is the first time in the event's 33-year history that organizers have called it off. The event draws more than 100,000 participants from around the world.
Next year, the coronavirus emergency, and tonight the alarming warning, a public health doctor in Hong Kong saying if the virus goes unchecked, it could infect 60% of the world's population. While off Japan tonight, that cruise ship this evening with Americans on board, and of the 48 new cases outside China, 40 were on that ship, including a worker who was helping with the quarantine. And tonight, an American couple, the retirees on board, that husband, his fever has returned. And Maggie Rulli from Japan again tonight.
With new cases of passengers sickened on this cruise ship announced almost daily, the mood on board is growing darker.
It's getting people's moods down. One of the passengers in the night were keeping other passengers awake, an old lady who was crying for a couple of hours.
Melanie and John Herring have been taking their own temperatures, but John has now had 2 days of back-to-back fevers.
We're just trying to keep his fever down. He gets it down for a while and then it goes back up.
John has seen a doctor, but has not been tested for the virus. It's unclear why.
We'll wait for another day.
Well, you can tell he's worried. I'm worried too. We're just hanging in there. So
grateful for all the support.
Of the 48 new cases of COVID-19 confirmed outside China yesterday, 40 were on board the Diamond Princess. One, a Japanese official who was checking passengers on board.
If there's a widespread transmission on the boat, you're looking at a second epicenter.
And another ship caught up in the global panic.
not too much going on here.
This Holland America cruise ship has been turned away from ports across Asia, even though there are no known COVID-19 cases on board. One passenger pleading to go home.
You know, we're all a bunch of human beings on this ship that have lives outside of this cruise ship that need us, and families and children, pets, jobs.
Tonight, there's fresh hope for those 1,400 passengers. Seen here celebrating with a dance after learning they will finally dock in Cambodia. And David, everyone wants to know, when can these passengers get off this ship? Now, right now, their quarantine is set to end February 19th, but officials have said they could extend that deadline for certain people if needed. And with the CDC saying that the likely spread of this virus at some point could happen in the U.S. or elsewhere, people are not taking any chances with a cluster of viruses like this. David?
All right, Maggie Rulli live in Japan for us again tonight.
I feel really bad for those people on the cruise ships, man. Because that has got to be just, frightening. Like, it just sounds like they're not getting any information, and not actually getting the help they need, and they're trapped. They can't go anywhere. I bet you there's armed guards right at the front, right at the bottom of the gangplank or whatever. I don't know how you get on those things. But I feel really bad for those people trapped on those ships. I would not want to be one of them. I bet this is going to kill the cruise industry for quite a while. Let's see. So, I have a weed store robbery, which is a really good video. You guys got to see that. I have a fucking tiger video. I have Tucker Bernie video, and trucker survives a steel plank. So if anybody wants to talk about anything, I'll give you a sec. This is a call-in show. The number is 805-669-6397. I am here to take your calls. The do not disturb button is off. So if you want to call, now's the time to do it. Or I'm going to play another clip, and then I'll give you another chance to call, and then I'll play another clip, and then I'll give you another chance to call, and then I'll play another clip, and then we're done. So that's the plan. I'm sticking to it. What should we watch next? Should we watch a weed store robbery, trucker survives steel beam, or trucker or Tucker Bernie video? Which one next? Which one next? Huh? Well, it's been 2 weeks of keeping cool. It hasn't quite been 2 weeks, but it's getting really close. Maybe it has been 2 weeks. Again, what I see is, that's why I played this video about them saying that the rate of infection looks like it's slowing down. So if the rate of infection looks like it's slowing down, and there isn't an explosion of cases here in the United States, which I haven't seen an explosion of cases here in the United States, then I think that we're pretty cool. I think I was correct in saying just stay cool for 2 weeks. Because what I see is, regardless of what these guys are saying, 60% of the world could get this thing. These people have no integrity. Saying things like that can really hurt people, and this fear, this never-ending drive for fear, more fear, higher fear level is not healthy. Hello, caller.
Hey, Michael. How's it going?
Going good. Who is this?
This is a long-time viewer, first-time caller, Joe from Nevada.
Hey, Joe. It's good to hear from you. What's going on with you? What's going on in your world?
Hey, man. I've been watching your show since probably 2012.
Right on.
Yeah, it's like from the beginning, so it's great. I love your show.
Thank you.
You got some really good calls today too. I don't think I can have as interesting conversations as they have, but at least I just want to say hi.
Yeah, it's not a competition, Joe. I appreciate you calling, man. It's a call-in show. We need people to call, so I appreciate you calling, man. What part of Nevada are you calling from?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. So what's the political vibe in Las Vegas?
The people here, like everywhere else, they're not really. They don't care.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah. It's like, hey, man, who are you voting for? Oh, I don't know. I don't care. It's kind of hard because if you care and nobody else cares, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, well, it's the main thing is, look, Bernie Sanders says he's gonna fucking decriminalize marijuana in the first 100 days. Okay, that's taking power away from the police and giving it to the people, and that's regardless of if you already have marijuana legalized in your state or not. Because it's taken away from the power from the federal police, who could come in at any time and shut down all these fucking stores and say, nope, all that power belongs to the people. So if you want to get people energized, I think that's one way to do it, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That would be amazing if he was to do that, but we'll see what happens. You were talking earlier about Tulsi taking votes away from Trump, and I got to tell you, I'm a Trump voter who switched parties just to vote for Tulsi. So I'm an example of what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, well, right on. Well, I'm even more glad you called now. I think that she speaks a language that, again, I think she's one of the most important voices in the race. And that's because she brings up these foreign policy issues that no one else wants to talk about. Because they don't want to they want to keep, they're just status quo candidates, They want to keep things just the way they are because they have plenty of power and they like it that way,
Yeah, they control everything, It's like the media is owned by just a few people, and they're just going all the shots. It's like a giant octopus. They have their control everywhere, and you can see how they raise the profile of any candidate they want, and they lower the profile of like Tulsi, because she's not saying the things that they want.
Right.
And it's like Buttigieg. Buttigieg, nobody knew who he was when he announced. I happen to know who he was. I knew he was a mayor of South Bend. And I knew that people didn't like him back over there, and I knew that he had gotten into, he was able to become mayor because I can't remember what it was, but there was some kind of shenanigans over there. So he rise to power as a mayor in a weird way, and it kind of just reminds me of Obama.
He reminds me of Obama too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he totally reminds me of Obama. Obama, if you look at the history of Obama, he climbed the steps of power in a really strange way. People would drop out. People, scandals would happen to his competitors, and all of a sudden he was, becoming a state representative, and then this and that, etc. And I just see Buttigieg as the same kind of yes man to the oligarchs, like Obama is.
I think that Buttigieg again is one of these status quo people who doesn't want things to change. He says that he wants to legalize marijuana, but in his state, in his city, in his town, as mayor of North Bend, the marijuana convictions and arrests have gone up during, from the previous mayor. And it's not like marijuana was somehow a beloved drug under the previous mayor in fucking North Bend, Indiana. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, he's full of shit. He's full of shit, and I can't stand it. I mean, the problem with Buttigieg is he's a really, really good speaker. The problem with him is he's full of shit, and that he's a really, really good speaker. Just like Obama. Obama's an amazing fucking speaker, but he's fucking full of shit. You know?
Right. I mean, that's the kind of person that the powerful wants. And I'm sure Obama. I'm sure they had Obama under total control. I mean, Obama was just a perfect candidate for them. I don't, it's like, things that come out to defend, like, all this, I don't know, it's like Jeffrey Epstein and his little circle of, what the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world doing, they're compromise factories, right? And I always got the sense that Obama was compromised. Like, people in power probably had videos of him doing who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
That's my feeling.
Well, all these people are compromised. It's not like Donald Trump's not compromised. But Jeffrey Epstein, yeah, thanks for bringing up Jeffrey Epstein. I think that the Attorney General Barr needs to go to Guantanamo Bay and be waterboarded until he tells us where the video of Jeffrey Epstein walking out of that prison or being murdered is at.
Yeah, and of course, Barr is part of the deep state.
Yeah, for sure.
All the people that surround Trump are like deep staters or people that are in like with his crazy connections to powerful people. It's like he's definitely a part of the swamp. Even though he promised all these things, and I mean, in some way, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Trump, because in some ways, yeah, the side of the establishment truly hates him. It's obvious, but he has all these connections. It's like there's factions in the oligarchs have factions. It's what I think, and he seems to belong to one faction, but they agree. There's so much agreement between those factions.
Yeah, there's very little difference between the factions. The main difference between them is that they simply are talking to different audiences. That's the real main difference. Other than that, there's almost no difference between them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I voted for him because he was saying the right things, and nobody else was saying the
No, you voted for him because Hillary Clinton was the other candidate. That's why everyone voted for Donald Trump. That no one voted for him because they had high hopes that this fucking carnival barker, fucking full of shit human being was ever going to do anything, be about anyone but himself. You voted for him because the fucking Democrats, the piece of shit Democratic elite, forced Hillary Clinton on the voters, completely ignoring the will of the voters, and that's the reason that we now have Donald Trump in the White House.
It's funny how we have these characters that on the one side you have Clinton, who's a completely hateful character, and then she's running against this other extremely hateful character.
Right.
It's almost like it's designed that way. Like the puppeteers have designed it that way.
Right.
So that to engage people in politics, because otherwise nobody cares. Otherwise nobody goes to the polls or to the nobody votes.
Yeah, well, that's I think that because they had this piece of shit, it's because they have this giant douche and turd sandwich characters that people, it's like you're saying, no one fucking cares. I don't want to put my fucking support behind a giant douche or a turd sandwich. So and if that's the best fucking people that the Democrats or the Republicans can come up with for the most powerful, important job in the world to represent every single American, those parties need to go. The Democrats and the Republicans need to go. They're a huge part of the problem. They are the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. They're the establishment. They're controlled by the same people. I truly feel that once right after we have this, right after we see Pelosi ripping the speech or whatever, and we see all this stuff, I have a feeling like they're going to the same cocktail parties afterwards.
Yeah, right. I get that. I mean, I hear you. It's what I've said again and again. It's not the Republicans. It's not the Democrats. It's both of them working together to bring us right to where we are in this moment in history, on the edge of extinction. Okay, and that's the reality here, people. We are on the edge of extinction. We have a buffoon with his finger on the button. We have buffoons, in line to be the next president, fucking Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi. None of these people deserve the power that they have. None of them have ever represented the working class for one fucking second. So it's just we're screwed, and we have to move beyond these idiotic labels like Republican or Democrat. I mean, those things are not who we are. I don't care if your daddy was a Republican and his daddy before him was a Republican. It does. We're here now on the edge of extinction, and we have a buffoon for president, and if we can't do better than that, maybe we deserve to be fucking extincted. And fucking fighting ridiculous wars. We're here on the verge of extinction, and all we can do is fucking waste every drop of fresh drinking water that we have on the planet for fucking to fucking get fossil fuels that just poison everything. The air, the environment, the water, and waste it on war. All of our resources just wasted on war. And no one wants that. And yet we just take it like a fucking bitch with no lube. All day, all night, and no one does anything about it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no one cares. And I think everybody is watching their football games and playing with their latest computer games, latest iPhones, and I think these people are very smart. The people that control the planet, they understand the power of all these distractions, and I can't remember who it was that talked about this. I think it was Aldous Huxley, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
He talked about people loving their servitude. this is, I think it's by design. They understand psychology, and they have all the greatest minds, and the cell phones are, man, the cell phones are dangerous. Let me tell you. It's
well, the smartphones, this thing where they can't take their eyes off the screen, when you say all the smart minds, there's this whole science behind hypnotizing people with flashing lights. And that's basically what all these screens are just basically flashing patterns of flashing lights. And it's obvious when these people, I mean, they don't put their cell phones down to go to bed. They lie in bed looking at their cell phones until they fucking fall asleep, man. You know? I'm telling you, it's true.
And I've been guilty of doing that myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're good at it. Well, it's not just they know what they're doing, it's that they have a game plan. You know, and we're all scattered. We can't even get beyond our stupid fucking labels to come together and recognize who has the real power, you know, or recognize the evil game plan that these other people have. But they have a game plan, and we don't even have a simple basic plan, you know. So we're kind of fucked. That makes them kind of have all the power, you know.
Yeah, they certainly do. They hold the power, but things are changing slowly. I mean, I remember just thinking back. I don't know when you started your channel, but I remember during the Ron Paul days, I would watch your show probably around 2012 is what I'm thinking. But when I think of what I knew back then and what I know now, it's a huge difference. I mean, my whole life I was in this dream. I was hypnotized. I was just believing all kinds of bullshit that I laugh at now. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
You know, and if you look at your own life, you could just look at the last 10 years and how many things you've learned. Thanks in part to the internet, right? And I think they designed the internet for probably evil purposes, but that was a big mistake on their part because the internet has allowed me to wake up. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I mean when I look back at how I was back in the day, I was just believing all kinds of nonsense.
It's not so much that it's nonsense as that's what we're programmed to believe. You know, we want to believe. It's not just that we want to believe that the people in the Pentagon are heroes. It's not just that we want to believe that the cops are heroes, that the doctors are heroes, that the politicians are heroes. It's that we're desperate for people like that. We need it so incredibly badly that we're like, oh man, where can I? Oh, I mean, it's not that we don't want the cops to be heroes. We're desperate for cops that are heroes. We're desperate for politicians that are heroes. We just don't have any, and so it's easy to understand why you might believe something that's not true, especially when it comes to patriotism and your country not being a horrible, evil, Nazi-like government.
Right. Yeah. No. It's. But I think I'm seeing, even though things are bad, etc. I do see the positive. Like what you're doing is very positive, and it seems like everything's going too slowly and it's never going to change. But I think that things build up, and it seems like nothing's happening, but things are building up in the background, and then when the change comes, things start happening quickly.
I think so too. I think that we are on the verge of something, an event that's going to be so big that it's going to change the course of human history. It's going to be like, a left turn, like just like, we can't do this anymore. We got to go this way now. I mean, just something huge. I always hope that it's going to be like a District 9 type event. You know that movie District 9?
Right.
Yeah, I always hope something like that. But that would be a little traumatic for a lot of people. So it'd be nice if we could just drop the labels and come together and kick out all the parties and start over with this fucking bullshit government for something better, as opposed to a giant invasion of UFOs.
Yeah, well, remember that song, "We'll Make Great Pets"?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how great pets will make, but it's easy. A lot of people see someone like me doesn't make a great pet. I bite. So, I might look like a great pet and I might be very cool, but, I would be so dangerous to have around as a pet. I'd be like having a Bengal tiger, Yeah, turn your back on me again, motherfucker. See what happens.
Exactly.
Hey, Joe, it's good to hear from you. I really appreciate you calling. I hope that we get to talk again sometime in the not-too-distant future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for taking my call. Appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for a very interesting conversation. You sold yourself short at the beginning of the conversation, so you know.
All right, take care.
All right, see ya. That's Joe from Nevada, from Las Vegas, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna play a clip for you guys. I got this Tucker clip where he's making fun of all the liberals fucking trying to get rid of Bernie.
Yeah, welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. So here's the actual headline, the one that should be running but isn't. Bernie Sanders is now officially the frontrunner for the Democratic nomination. Sanders won the New Hampshire primary last night. He received the most votes. He will get the most delegates. Now, the Democratic contest now turns to the state of Nevada. Sanders is likely to win there, too. So at this point, and the betting markets agree on this, Sanders is the odds-on favorite to face Donald Trump in November. So pause for a moment and think about what that means. It's kind of an amazing story, really. For decades, Bernie Sanders was dismissed out of hand as a crank, an ideological antique, a weirdo with excessive ear hair and Soviet sympathies, all of which essentially was true. Nobody in Washington took Bernie Sanders seriously, not for a moment. He wasn't even technically a Democrat. He was a proud independent who despised the Democratic Party. And now, all of a sudden, the odds makers are telling us that Bernie Sanders is likely to take over the Democratic Party, the whole thing. Amazing. So no matter what you think of him, Bernie Sanders' rise is one of the most remarkable developments in American politics in decades. And yet the political press is essentially not covering it. Many have decided it's just not happening. They've been told by their masters at the DNC to stop Sanders, and for weeks they've worked their best to effect that. A couple of weeks ago, they colluded with Elizabeth Warren to call Sanders a sexist. That failed. So now they're pretending that losing candidates are actually the winners. A Chiron on MSNBC last night read this, quote, Buttigieg, Klobuchar, and Sanders leading in New Hampshire. In other words, perfectly inverting reality in the state of the race. Then Chris Matthews came on screen to explain that actually Bernie Sanders didn't win. I mean, yeah, he got the most votes, but that doesn't matter. What is this, some kind of democracy?
A win's a win, as you say at the New York Giants, New York Football Giants, yes. But it wasn't the victory of a guy that got 60% last time. And Buttigieg and Klobuchar together trounced Bernie tonight.
You following that? If you take two totally different candidates and you meld them into a single person, Sanders would in fact be in second place. Take that, Bernie bros. But even if you use Chris Matthews' math, you couldn't hide the biggest loser last night. And that, of course, was media-appointed frontrunner Joe Biden. During a rare moment of lucidity last fall, Biden, in a complete sentence, promised he was going to win New Hampshire. Instead, last night, he finished fifth. His vote total at the end was closer to zero than it was to what Bernie Sanders got. In fact, Biden failed so completely in New Hampshire that he didn't even bother to speak to his supporters in the state, many of whom have campaigned on his behalf for a year. Instead, he blew them off completely and fled to South Carolina, where he delivered a bizarre, rambling speech declaring that New Hampshire voters don't matter anyway. Who cares about them? They're the wrong skin color.
Up till now, we haven't heard from the most committed constituency of the Democratic Party, the African-American community. I want y'all to think of a number. 99.9%. That's the percentage of African American voters who have not yet had a chance to vote in America. One more number. 99.8. That's the percent of Latino voters who haven't had a chance to vote. So when you hear all these pundits and experts, cable TV talkers talk about the race, tell them, it ain't over, man. We're just getting started. Our votes count too.
Our votes count. You heard that right. Biden's plan to resuscitate his campaign, make it about race. Now, that, of course, is a tactic that Democrats have used for over 100 years. There's nothing uglier than that, though unfortunately it's sometimes effective. Listen to this. It's Biden's new ad. He plays the role of civil rights marcher, fresh out of gospel choir practice. Listen.
We don't feel no ways tired. We've come too far from where we started. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to stop now. If you don't like what's going on in this country, you only have one thing to do. Work. Together we can and will win. Let's take back this country now.
So if you're Biden's age and you're literally this close, probably weeks away to retiring to Del Boca Vista, why degrade yourself like that? That was pandering so blatant, you got to wonder if Biden got it from Hillary Clinton.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me.
Imagine talking like that. How much would you hate yourself? Ugh, Biden thought it was great, so he copied it. Sad. A campaign that should have been euthanized a long time ago. But the same press corps that told you Joe Biden was the front runner and ignored his obvious infirmity is enabling him once again. And they're doing that by playing along as he reframes this entire contest as really something about race. According to the media, New Hampshire's voters, just like the voters in Iowa, don't really matter. They don't count because they're the wrong color. They're telling you that. MSNBC anchor Craig Melvin tweeted this, and we're quoting, an accurate headline would read, Bernie Sanders wins, Amy surges and surprises, black and brown voters now start casting primary ballots. Please. Talk about somebody who doesn't even read the newspaper. Black and brown voters, as he said, have been voting from the beginning. And by the way, plenty of them have voted for Bernie Sanders. He won their votes in Iowa. He'll almost certainly win heavily Hispanic Nevada. But take 3 steps back. Why are we even having this conversation? Do you really want to live in a country where votes are tallied by race? They do, but do you? How do you think that ends? It ends badly every single time. So why are they doing this? Well, it's pretty obvious why they're doing it. As long as voters are divided by race, and that's their aim, to divide them, they're less likely to notice that the real debates in this country and the real problems are about economics. Issues like rising inequality, a detached elite willing to cash out, even if it means sending all American jobs to China. For Wall Street, wokeness is a fantastic and highly effective diversion. Goldman Sachs will gladly issue a press release saying they're banning all white IPOs. They did it last month. They're happy to do it as long as it keeps Democrats from raising their taxes. That's all they care about is the money. That's it. And they're willing to rip the country in half, stoke racial conflict that's not easily healed. People don't get over this stuff quickly. They're doing it so they can get away with looting the country. That's the truth. Now, it's tempting to assume that the press is going along with this because they know what's happening. But that's probably not true. They're probably just dumb. They have no idea. These are the same people who thought Beto O'Rourke was the next Bobby Kennedy. They don't know anything. They don't even know what they're saying. Keep that in mind the next time they tell you Pete Buttigieg is going to be president. Yeah, okay.
All right. So Tucker loves this shit. He loves the media acting like fools. He's always been pretty good at pointing that out. Okay, so I have 2 video clips left. There's my beautiful baby over there. Maybe let's see if we can get his attention. Boo Bear. Boo Bear. Let's try a little harder. You want some pizza? Boo Bear, you want pizza? Look, I have pizza. Pizza? What? You want a piece of pizza? Huh? Do you? You want a piece of pizza? Who's my Boo Bear? Who's my Boo Bear? Huh? Who's my boo? Who's my boo? Who? Who? Loud. Super bark. Super bark. Super bark. Come on, you can do it. Nope, nope, nope. Back up on the couch. No, go back up on the couch. Go on the couch. Go on the couch. Go on the couch. Go up, 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 up. All right, you come over here. Then come over here. Come up. Okay. Now. Super bark. Super bark. No, come up here. Who's my beautiful baby? Who? Who? That's right, you are. You're my beautiful baby. All right. Go back on the couch. Gotta chew it, buddy. Go on the couch. Go on the couch. Go on the couch. Go get on the couch. Go get on the couch. Go get on the couch. Up, 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 up. Hey, what I say? Go up on the couch. Go up on the couch. Hurry up. Hurry up. Okay, now. Can you catch? Can you catch? Can you catch? Can you do it? You ready? Who's my beautiful baby? Who's my beautiful... Who? Who? That's right, you're my beautiful baby. Ready? Here it comes. Here it comes. Whoop-a! Oh! Off the lips. Off the lips. Back up on the couch. Go back up on the couch. Go on. Hey, Boo Bear, get back up on the couch. Right? No, go on the couch. Go on the couch. Go up on the couch. Go up on the couch. Go on. Up, up. Up, up. Up, up. Over here. Come over here. Hey, come over here. Come over to Pikachu. There. There. That's my beautiful baby. You're my beautiful baby. Now lie down. There. That's perfect. Look how pretty he is. Isn't he a pretty boy down by the river? Isn't he a pretty boy? He's my beautiful baby. He's my beautiful baby. All right, so no one's calling. Do you guys notice no one's calling? Oh, you know what? Then Do Not Disturb was on the phone, so maybe someone is calling. Just one. Hello, caller.
Michael, this is Steve McClanahan.
Steve McClanahan. How are you?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Good.
I am.
Good.
I am okay.
Good.
Just imagine my hand out in front of my face, and I am moving it in all certain different directions. Okay. I'm hanging out with Roger Stone. We're in Las Vegas.
I thought Roger Stone was in jail or something.
No, he's not. He's not in jail.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Roger Stone's in jail? No, Roger Stone is hanging out with Steve McClanahan currently in Las Vegas.
Right on.
And I am moving my hand in all sorts of different directions in the air that are super cool. I mean, the way that I express myself with my hand gestures and movements like Roger Stone, that's why Roger Stone and Steve McClanahan are cool. Because we do that. We do a lot of those hand movements in the air. Currently, we're doing that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's super cool. So me and Roger Stone, we're in. Do you want to talk to Roger Stone? I mean, we're in Las Vegas. Do you want to talk to him? Do you want to get an exclusive interview with Roger Stone?
No, maybe tomorrow.
Do you want to talk to Mox News? No, you don't, he doesn't want to talk to him.
Yeah, well, see, I didn't want to talk to him really either.
It's
so.
cool, dude.
Yeah, it's
Literally.
cool. I don't want to talk.
Ambushing you right now.
Nobody
right?
wants to
Just
talk to him, dude.
Having flashbacks. Okay, just shut the fuck up, Roger. Okay. Jesus Christ. Everybody here in Las Vegas is tense.
Everybody needs to chill the fuck out. I don't know why everybody's so fucking angry, Michael. I mean,
I blame Donald Trump.
Whistleblowers. I mean, why is everybody so angry at Roger Stone, and then they hate Edward Snowden, and then Julian Assange is being tortured. I mean, this is Steve McClanahan coming to you live from motherfucking Las Vegas with Roger Stone. I mean, what did Roger Stone do? Obviously,
he was convicted of lying before Congress on five different
lying before
times.
Congress. Yeah, Roger Stone is going to be convicted of that.
Under
the
oath.
Greatest day for Nancy Pelosi, Peter Schitt, and fucking every goddamn idiot in the fucking goddamn world. Roger Stone is the worst person on the fucking face of the earth, and he needs to go to jail. He's not fucking going to jail at all.
Well, that's obvious.
Never. I mean, like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Roger Stone's going to jail? Are you fucking kidding me? What? And then Julian Assange is being tortured because he's a whistleblower? And then Edward Snowden is a fucking goddamn Russian because he's a whistleblower? And there's some whistleblower that nobody knows about that all of a sudden whistleblowing is the greatest thing here in America. And then Chelsea Manning once was a dude. Okay, people, this is fucking with me, and I swear to God, this movie is probably worse than The Fifth Element. I'm not kidding you. This is completely fucking with me, Michael. What the fuck is going on? This is hard out here in the world being a goddamn journalist, having to deal with the extreme amount of fucking insanity constantly. Okay, I only have a fucking broadcasting degree. I have to tell this to people constantly so they know. Okay, I have to learn it in sign language too.
It's like with Donald Trump. It's like with Donald Trump, how he keeps having to tell people that he's a very stable genius.
I've never actually heard him say that one time in my life.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not really worried about Donald Trump because the entire planet of Earth, people are completely losing it, and they're angry over a bunch of goddamn stupid-ass bullshit. And you know what? I do think, you know what, what we should do is just get back to, like, maybe just, you know what, let's play some sports. Let's have some teams, and let's compete in sports and practice and try to be better and compete against each other's countries and then not actually fight wars. Let's end wars through sports. And you know what? You can hate your other team, but you don't wish death upon them.
You know you do. I mean, this is the problem.
No, you don't.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying.
Sports are a paramilitary activity.
Kobe died.
Sports are a paramilitary activity. When you put your children into sports, you're preparing them to be in the military.
And that was a real reality check. Everybody now knows, like, damn.
Okay, Steve.
Sports are fucking cool.
Yeah,
sports
they're amazing.
Are cool.
Okay, Steve.
They are cool. Why can't we do more sports and less wars?
Yeah, or whatever else.
That could be good. You know, for the world, I don't know.
No, I don't think
America's
so.
Doing it, whether you like it or not.
I think we have plenty of sports already going on, and it's not improving the world in any way. And I gotta go, Steve.
I have to go, Michael.
So thanks for calling.
I'm going to go.
It's good to hear from you.
Throw the football by myself with me.
Well, you do what you got to do. Thanks for calling.
Well, I have to go.
Okay. Good to hear from you.
I'm trying to fucking hang up.
Have a nice evening. Steve McClanahan calling from Las Vegas, apparently. Okay, so I have this video of this truck driver who took a big old giant steel beam through his windshield and almost straight through his chest. It's only a second-long video, but you might want to see it.
An incredible image here. A steering wheel stopped a steel beam from impaling a truck driver in Michigan. The beam crashed through his front windshield, traveling between Detroit and Lansing, missing him by a matter of inches.
When it bounced off the concrete, I seen it was steel. And then I knew this was going down. And then I just braced myself and went like that, and then it folded the dash like that. And then here's the steering wheel. So the piece of steel was on the steering wheel and one lip of the dash.
Wow, that 6-foot piece of steel fell off a flatbed truck, changing lanes in front of him. The driver of the flatbed didn't stop, possibly not even knowing his unsecured load went flying.
Wow. Well,
That guy is a lucky luck guy. No doubt. So I have one more video, which is the weed store robbery video. And I'm going to play that for you unless someone's going to call here, because the Do Not Disturb is off the phone, and you're welcome to call anytime. Otherwise, I think I will play this weed store robbery video because it's different than any weed store robbery video I've ever seen before. So you might want to check it out. Are you ready for that? That'll be the last video I have. Or we could do a fucking tiger video. Hello, caller.
What's up, Mike?
I'm doing this thing that I do. What's up with you?
Doing this thing that I do right along with you, brother.
Right on it. What's your name?
My name's Wolko.
Oh, hey, Wolko. It's good to hear from you, bro. Are you, what's going on? How's your world?
Oh, it's all right. Everybody's getting the flu, so there's a lot of flu around. That's always fun. I don't want to get the flu.
Yeah, I don't want to get the flu. I don't even, I feel bad because, like, I don't want to, like, share marijuana with people in that way where, where you swap spit. I
don't blame you, man. Even I don't dig doing that either. I'll use alcohol swabs or just say no thanks. So.
I'm just like, I like me and the dogs will be walking and I'll see some neighbors and they're like, hey, you want a puff? And I'll be like, no, I'm good, thanks. I just
not worth it, man.
It's not that I wouldn't like to sit down and socialize with with the guys, but I don't want to swap spit with people.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you've heard about the crap in San Diego with the flights from Wuhan.
I haven't heard a whole lot about it. Tell us about it.
So I'm right in between March Air Reserve Base and Miramar Naval Air Station, which is two places where they've flown a couple of flights in from Wuhan. And the first flight from March Air Reserve Base was released from its 14-day quarantine today. And nothing came out of that one. So as far as I know, I had never heard of anybody testing positive. So that's great, as long as they don't find out later that the incubation period is longer than 15 days, which I really expect them to have oh wow, we're sorry, we screwed up.
Oh geez, we didn't mean to send typhoid Marys all across the country.
Right, as they fly these people in from China, like they've just got to come home right fucking now.
And then they call it quarantining, but if they need something, they drive them to the hospital, and that's not really quarantined. So then in San Diego, the first flight that came in a week ago, originally there were 4 people that were symptomatic, and they were taken, instead of, they're on a freaking naval air station, instead of bringing the finest doctors that we have to them, they drive them to UC Health in where is it? Somewhere north of San Diego, but it's a suburb. Forgot the name of it. But anyhow, they took four patients there that were symptomatic, and they were all tested, and they were kept there in some sort of isolation until the CDC said none of the samples were positive. But yesterday, one of the patients got much sicker and was taken back to UC Health and was tested, and they're positive now. So
I heard something about that on one of the stories that I saw today.
So the story is that of the 4 samples that were sent to the CDC in Georgia, 3 of them weren't even tested because they were improperly labeled. So the 4 people that were symptomatic and sent back to play on the playground in what they call quarantine and to hang out, 3 of the 4 samples were not tested. One of them is an adult woman who's tested positive now. So during all this time, we had a father and his 3-year-old daughter that were Skyping the local news. And while they were originally being held in isolation, and then while they were released and went back to Miramar to finish out their 14 days. And so we have this face, this human face to put with this, whether it's a psyop or whether it's a pandemic that we're not quite sure of yet, but we have this face and a very cute little 3-year-old girl that's squirming in her dad's arms, and the talk is about how we got to get Mom, who's a Chinese citizen, how can we get her here? And while we were hearing him Skype from Miramar Naval Air Station, thankful that he had been released from isolation with his daughter, this was about 2 or 3 days ago now, his father-in-law, who's in Wuhan, and had been sharing videos with him of them camping out in their car, in a van, outside of a hospital, trying to get treatment. The father-in-law has now passed.
Yeah.
And so this morning, the little girl was admitted to Lady Children's, now positive, one of the 3 evidently that weren't tested of the 4. And so that she's not alone, Dad is with her. So it's just kind of interesting that that's the way that it's happened. It's just, how much more could you bungle this if it's what they say it is, and they fly planes full of people in and don't really isolate them, and then the CDC can't even handle testing.
Right.
So hopefully it's still just a psyop. It's strange that this time, if we go back to all of the other, even the Ebola that made it into Texas, and I think they had a patient in Nebraska. Even with that, we didn't have our supposed enemy of China participating. So that's just.
That sounds, it's ridiculous that these people that we have no other choice but to turn to in this type of situations, once again, are completely full of shit.
Right.
And I mean, where are we supposed to turn? There is nowhere left for us to turn. We can't turn to the experts. We can't turn to the police. We can't turn to the politicians. It's horrible the way this country is being run. Go ahead.
My policy is always to turn away from those people because they do not have your best interest at heart ever, They don't care about you. They don't love you. They're not trying to help little kids' teeth by fluoridating the water. If they cared about their teeth, they'd give them toothbrushes.
Yeah.
So they don't love you, no matter what they tell you, no matter what they promise you. They don't love you. They love that $175,000 that a congressperson gets, on average.
Yeah.
And they love all that extra money that they become millionaires somehow on $175,000 a year.
They seem to really love their positions when they get them in the Congress, and it's not because somehow they're beloved by the people that they serve,
Well, besides the money, then we also leave out that, the honeypot, the Jeff Epstein honeypot issue that's been going on for how many decades, where these people get set up with, whether it's CIA or Mossad or a combination of both, get set up with probably who they are told is an 18-year-old pretty girl, and oops, by the way, she's 16 or 17, and we filmed the whole thing, and now you're in our pocket, or we're gonna, you're gonna lose your wife and your kids and your job, and you're gonna be on TV. So, here's a bunch of money for your campaign, and we'll call you when we need you.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that doesn't happen, but my gosh, if you look around, that's what's happening. So.
No, I mean it's obvious that that's who these people are. They're all completely owned, and it seems like more than just because they're bought and paid for, like you're saying. It's like as if they are terrified to make any kind of an outside the box type of move.
Right. When for every important constitutional type vote that my ex-representative Duncan Hunter ever made was right along with Nancy Pelosi. He voted right with her, and I ride him every time, to the point where I was a little worried because some of the responses that I got from him, it's like.
Is that Duncan Hunter or Duncan Hunter Jr.?
Duncan Hunter Jr.
Yeah.
So,
that guy's even worse than the original.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's worse, but he's definitely Daddy's boy.
Yeah. I made a video of him on Washington Journal, the C-SPAN show.
Yeah, wasn't it the? I'm sure I saw this from you because I get all my news from Fox News.
They played that video on Press TV, on Iranian state television, with the Fox News logo and everything, and the title of the video was "The douchebag doesn't fall far from the tree."
Oh shit! I don't remember that one, but I do remember a video where he got a pants on fire rating because he was saying that ISIS was on the Mexican border.
Yeah.
And this was at the same time that G.I. Joe Biggs from Infearwares was also playing that nonsense that ISIS was on the Mexican border, to the point that he went down there and was looking around, and he found some town on the Mexican border there that has like a mosque, and he was saying that was proof that ISIS was on the Mexican border. And it was at that same time, I don't know if you remember this, there was a contractor group that was actually called ISIS Incorporated, who contracted with the State Department and the Department of Defense, and their motto was that they do the things that you can't do.
Yeah.
And it was also the same time that there was a video that came out of the supposed ISIS fighters with a big gun in the back shooting.
Yeah.
And some dude in Texas said, "Yeah, that was my plumbing truck. I just sold that at auction." And the thing is that ISIS incorporated this, and they actually had to. I spammed their link so many times. Google warned me, and soon thereafter they changed their name to SIS. I dropped an eye off of it, and the screenshots off of the Wayback Machine disappeared that I would check on regularly.
Wow.
Yeah, and they actually have a mock town in Mexico, just near Ciudad Juarez, that's like a shoot-up town. And that is so where G.I. Joe Biggs was saying that ISIS was on the Mexican border. He wasn't really lying because his buddies, remember, he was a military dude.
Yeah.
So these ex-military contractors that worked for ISIS Incorporated were actually on the Mexican border training as ISIS terrorists and filming the actions that were put on our news as, look, here's our scary ISIS.
Yeah.
When it was actually not. So.
It's just hard to believe that. That this government is just so out of control. It's almost like, it's just hard to believe, man. I mean, it seems like, I don't know. It just we deserve so much better, and the people of America. I don't know. I believe that the people of America are good people overwhelmingly. So I don't understand how we get such an evil fucking representational government. It's I hate it. It just bothers me to no end, man.
Yeah. So on a lighter note, there's enough of the doom and gloom. So your Gabbard rig, you've got a few hours to get that, and you're going to go for that $60 rig on the head shop.
Well, I figure that one's gonna let that one it will see. I have 4 of these crystal buckets that are brand new, right? So I know that rig will get me through until I feel secure in ordering a piece of glass from China.
Totally. Yeah. And the same thing.
Yeah, and it's a price. I went to the store yesterday. I went into a couple of stores yesterday to try and see if there was anything that compared in price, and nothing. There was everything. I mean, anything close to that was twice the money. So I can't get anything locally. I can't get anything from China. Basically, that piece looks to me like one of those Chinese pieces, and
I'm pretty sure that they are. I'm pretty sure that all these ones, because I've been looking too. I searched for the last couple of days. I've just searched like cheap dab rigs.
Yeah.
And
do you find anything? Do you find anything good?
Well, I have one sitting in my cart, but I'm waiting. If you're going to buy that one, I want to see it and see you use it, and it's a little cheaper, so. And maybe it's great. So
yeah.
But I do found one from Bong Outlet that's in Ontario.
Okay, I'll look them up. I think I did see them, but I will look them up, and because I'm building a list of people to contact, because it doesn't make any sense that people don't want to kick down a piece of glass that I smoke on over and over again nightly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see the loss leader of the advertising, but the one out of Colorado that you found that does free shipping and ships it out right away.
Yeah.
And they're selling that thing for $65 or whatever.
Yeah.
That from that same piece from China. Now, granted, if they buy more pieces, they get a better deal. But if you would buy one of those, you're probably looking at $45 or $50.
Which isn't, so that's not a huge markup. That's a markup that I can honestly live with, and that's the reason. That's the reason I come back. I've come to that piece. I primarily decided that's the one that I can't find anything that I want more than that, really. I mean, that's same price. The one I found is $75.
Yeah. $5 for shipping, unless you get up to $100. And it's a 10-inch. They call it a barrel diffuser recycled rig.
Yeah.
It basically is an incycler, so the recycled water goes down inside, and it's got one tube that goes up into like a triangular top piece, And they show it. The cool thing is on that website is they show it being used.
Yeah, I like that.
So you can kind of see how it bubbles, and you can see that no water's coming up the neck.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much filling up all that like top recycled bulb and good bubbles. But it's got a 14 millimeter male connection on the bongs. 14 seems kind of small just because I'm used to the 18, I guess.
I think the 14s work fine. I really do. I think they work. This one is a 14, and I think that it gives. I think it gets better. I think it works fine. The only thing that I notice is that when I have a really big dab, it's a little bit harder. This bowl seems a little tight, but I'm sure you can get a bigger one on a 14. I just that's the one. That's the only one I have for that pipe.
I probably wouldn't be taking monster dabs like that anyhow. So, you know.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, man, do you get like, since I'm sort of new to this, man, I'm just using my bong. And instead of getting like dirty brown and black stuff, man, I got golden stuff all over it. Man.
Yeah,
like,
that's all that. That's all
shit in there. What the hell?
That's what I get from the flower rosin is just golden, and it just melts right off, man. I put hot water in there, and it just melts right away, and it's all clean and nice.
I wish I could recover it. It seems like that's a lot. You know?
Well, you can recover it. I've heard that you can use alcohol to recover it, but then you want to eat it if you recover it that way. And you can use heat to recover it too, but it hasn't worked for me to do that. So I don't know. It's not like you need to recover it or whatever. I mean,
you're right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like, but I'm such a cheapskate. It's like, I golden yumminess inside my bong.
I know. You hate to let it go to waste, man.
Yeah, man.
I hear you.
So there you go. That's my thoughts for this evening.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to share them with us, Wilco.
Yeah. And I got a 4 fucking day weekend, dude.
Awesome.
Love it.
It's President's Day or something, huh?
Yeah, and we get to take. They decided to take a Friday as well instead of having the President's Day and Washington's birthday or something like that. I don't know. They put it together so that we have
nice
weekend.
That's awesome, man. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, thanks for taking my call, Mike, and thanks for doing it as always.
Hey, Wilco, it's I really appreciate all your help, man. In the chat room and everywhere else.
Yes, sir. Okay. Good night to you in the chat.
Okay. Well, hope I talk to you again soon.
Right on. Peace, brother.
See ya. That's our buddy Wilco from SoCal. Okay, so I have one more video here. It is a weed store robbery, but it is not a weed store robbery video like you have ever seen before. So I hope that you stick around to see this because I think it's pretty interesting. Weed store robbery is video number 6.
2 stolen bonsai trees we've been telling you about that were taken from a Federal museum have been safely returned. Now, how they got there is a mystery. Security guards found them both sitting on the road leading to the museum last night. One had some damage, but both are in pretty good shape, we're told. They'll be back on display today. Now to this robbery caught on camera. It happened Saturday night at the Euphorium Pot Shop on Vashon Island. And this woman is not flinching from that gun, as you can see there. Cover 7's Matt Smith talked to her when she had a very different reaction.
May I see your ID, my dearest?
Inside Euphorium.
Are you part of our rewards program?
Business continues. No slowdown after a shocking robbery caught on camera. Here you see a man pulling out a gun. The cashier back at work today telling me it almost didn't register what was happening when she stared him down.
I looked at him in the eyes and I said, "You are so young." And that's when I turned around to go get the phone to call the police, and that's when he got away.
A lot of this is still hitting Elise days after it unfolded. Her boss, Dexter,
I would like to see the police go out there and pick the guy up.
just wants justice. Pictures he shared on Facebook drawing possible clues to who this guy is. Dexter wants them caught.
If he's not, then we've kind of opened a door that we can't close again. And it sets a precedent for drug addicts and criminals to start pushing people around.
The guy who pulled this off came in right through this door. Nobody was really alarmed because he was wearing a mask, but it was cold outside. But here's the thing. the entire situation caught on camera because there are multiple security cameras in every single direction, and that should help them track this guy down.
I've been fielding literally hundreds of messages and calls and texts, people showing support.
I appreciate that, the energy behind that. But it was a very intense moment.
Deputies with the King County Sheriff's Office are now looking into the case. This woman just thankful it's behind her. They've determined it was some sort of BB gun. You see on the camera, the man shooting once into the ceiling. The damage left behind, minimal. But in the heat of the moment, none of that was known.
I'm grateful it wasn't a killer. You know, I'm grateful it wasn't a real deal holdup.
But investigators telling me the punishment will be the real deal. Reporting on Vashon Island, Matthew Smith, Cairo 7 News.
That lady, she's got balls of steel. She's like, you see her? She didn't even flinch when she turned her back on that guy and he shot the gun into. She didn't even flinch, not even a little bit. Most people would have fallen to the ground and went, I'm dead. She's just like, whatever, douchebag. I guess she's very lucky. I don't think that's the way to handle a robbery. But I really like her, regardless. I think it's awesome. Because, you know, she was concerned for that kid, man. She's like, look, this is going to be a horrible life for you. This is a life-changing thing. You can do it now. You choosing your path. Anyways, she's fantastic, and she is my hero of the day, or whatever. That's my last news clip. I'm hungry. My dog is somewhere else, so I can't do any more doggy shows for you. But it was nice to have Rufus on the show. And hey, Craig, that last clip, those people need fucking cameras. Those cameras were not the best cameras. So, you know. Anyways, it's I guess that's it for tonight. We're doing the live show every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's always better when you're here. So I really hope that we see you here tomorrow night. Same Mox time, same Mox channel. One of these days this war is going to end. Stay cool until that day.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
Eat some food. Gotta eat some food. Food me. Food me.